Welcome in, everyone, to Football Friday, presented by Football Addicts Anonymous. Great to have Mark and Chris here, the now entire crew, because we lost Alex. He's off doing other stuff. But yeah, football is here. NFL football is here. We had a great slate of college games last week. Have another great one coming up this week, but before we talk about that, let's talk about the game that happened on Monday night, Ole Miss and Louisville, and also the game that happened last night, the NFL kickoff, Cowboys at Bucs. So, Ole Miss rolling Louisville, 43-24. Matt Corral, baby. Matt Corral put himself in the Heisman conversation right from the start. It helped with a lot of the other quarterbacks at the top of that conversation in the preseason not playing very well this week, and only a couple quarterbacks really played very well. So I think I think I saw somewhere that Matt Corral actually is now like tied for third or something like that in terms of like betting odds for Heisman. It's like, damn, dude, one game. But and the funny thing was Lane Kiffin didn't even coach. He was out with COVID. But he still balled. Only threw one touchdown. But they had the ground game going as well a little bit. And the defense was fantastic for Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think the storylines in this game for me was Ole Miss defense showed up, and seeing what they had last year where they had to score so many points to compete. I will shout out Louisville's defensive back, Kendrick Duncan, 11 tackles, 11 solo, 1 sack, 1 tackle for a loss. That's a big game in a losing effort. But the big takeaway from this is, if anyone watched this, is the 4 targeting calls in the first half. And I'm hoping moving forward that we revisit this, because this is what I will say. And I wish I was on ESPN and other people would say it. Someone that leaves their feet as a defender and goes to tackle someone, and then the offensive player lowers their head or their shoulder and they collide, it shouldn't always be the defensive player's fault. You've got to take a subjective look watching the replays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I saw something on social media as well that the person said, I know y'all are going to probably give me a lot of flack for it, but why doesn't college with the targeting rule go into a sort of soccer style penalty system with yellow card, red card?
I agree.
You have to have 2 offenses. I always thought, because I know they do that for unsportsmanlike conduct. If you get 2, you're ejected.
Yeah.
I always thought about making unnecessary roughness like that as well. Because that's not called too often either. And I feel like if 2 unnecessary roughness calls, you should be out as well.
Yeah.
Severity. I mean, sometimes they're not very good calls on unnecessary roughness, but
I mean, Mark kind of touched on it though. Like, there's a weird gray area with the whole thing, because the defenders are always penalized for it, but the majority of the time it's not really their fault. So I don't know. It's kind of like a gray area. If they were to make a rule that the offensive player could get flagged for it, then yeah, I could see that. But until they fix that part, I don't think they could do the 2 fouls and you're out kind of thing.
Technically, they do have that rule in for the offense. The offense is held to the same standard technically in the rule book. I know they have that in the NFL as well, where lowering your head as a running back or a runner of the football, you can get called for that. Does it get called very often? No, but they can say, well, it's in the rule books. The refs just aren't calling it. And that comes back to, I don't know how the NCAA does it, because you have conference officials and not an overarching officiating body.
Mm-hmm.
But like NFL, they have their annual officials meeting and they're like, all right, this year we're going to stress these 4 points. And that's what you see most flagged in the preseason. And then it stops in the regular season. So I don't know. But yeah, unfortunately he didn't fill out the stat sheet, but the guy other than Matt Corral in this game that I loved was Maryland transfer linebacker Chance Campbell for Ole Miss's defense. He was everywhere, led the defense, and I think I agree with what Herb Street and Fowler were saying. Like him coming in, and they also had another transfer as well in the defense. I don't remember his name, but dude, those two guys coming in completely changed the Ole Miss defense and how they play. So I just wanted to shout out Chance Campbell. He got on my radar most definitely in this game. So Drummond also had a very good game for Ole Miss. Then Snoop scoring twice. Ole Miss covered -9 under 74. I hit both of those, by the way. All right, last night's game. Bucs get out a win against the Cowboys, 31-29, game-winning field goal from Ryan Suckup with 7 seconds to go. You can't give Tom the ball with under a minute and not expect to lose.
The Buccaneers did not win this game, though. The Cowboys lost it. They left like 6 or 7 points on the field with those missed field goals. That 60-yarder that they attempted was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
That was I'm going to piggyback right off of that. The 2 takeaways, I have a funny one. This was the best NFL game so far this season. First game. But the difference in this game for me, like you can look at the stats, and Tampa Bay lost the turnover. They had more turnovers than the Cowboys. The one stat that was the difference in the entire game was 1 of 4 in the red zone for the Cowboys and 3 of 5 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the red zone. And that wins you. That makes you your money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was very surprised that it was just a shootout, considering Tampa's defense. I knew the Cowboys defense wasn't that great. Their front seven, I think both defenses are actually sort of similar in that both front sevens have a lot of very solid players. DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Leighton Vander Esch for the Cowboys. Obviously, I can name all 7 of the front 7 for Tampa because they're all household names.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very surprised Dak was able to throw a lot on Tampa, that he had time to throw without Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Specifically.
If they play like this, though, I think the Cowboys are going to be just fine, especially in their division.
Well, they got to finish games, though. Obviously, Dak was having an amazing season last year before he got hurt, but they still didn't have a winning record when he went down. I think they still had only 1 win in those first 5 games or whatever. So the Cowboys in general have to do a better job of closing out the games and winning the games. But, yeah, Dak did look good last night.
Hey, and when people, when Tom said that he could be better than even last year, and some people are like, the age thing, I sent you guys a text message, and his first few balls, there was just a dart through traffic. And then over towards the sideline, just putting it in the breadbasket of the shoulder. I jumped up out of my chair and was like, oh my gosh, did you see that? And even my wife was like, holy cow, how does he make that throw? And you can say the same for some of Dak's throws too. It was really a fun game if you want action in a football game, this had action.
Yeah.
And but it had action.
Yeah. I just wanted to address one thing that I've seen a lot of overreaction so far about, and that was Ezekiel Elliott's performance.
Terrible.
Yeah, he only was 11 for 33, but he wasn't used a lot because, one, the Tampa Bay line, you already talked about it, Rusty. They're one of the best in the league. So running against them isn't the greatest idea anyway. But when he didn't have the ball in his hands, he was blocking for a majority of the game, and he was doing a great job doing that. So a lot of the people that I've seen saying like that he's washed up and stuff, yeah, he's probably not as good as he used to be, but he's being used in different ways that he hasn't been in the past.
Yeah, well, it was fantastic to have him starting in fantasy last night. That wasn't my fault though. Like I didn't have a choice. You know
Yeah.
what's going on with my team in Dynasty League.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have JK anymore, so and rant.
Didn't you trade for the other running back right after that too?
No, I was going to.
A different league.
I was going to. Luckily, I didn't.
Oh.
We'll talk about that, but yeah, I was disappointed. Amari Cooper put up 38 on my bench as well. Dak had 34 on the bench, but I played the matchups. That's how fantasy goes.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what I did. I thank you for suggesting that.
I told you.
I think Brady got me 35. But unfortunately, I'm facing off against him in our keepers league. So now I'm down 35 in that league, but I'm up 35 in our dynasty. So you win some, you lose some. But yeah, let's see how Russell Wilson does on Sunday now.
Yeah, otherwise in this game, I mean, I don't know. I thought really the storyline was just quarterbacks, no defense, and like you said, Chris, Greg the leg missing a bunch of kicks that essentially would have won them the game. So do they have a kicker problem now again in Dallas like they did a couple years ago? But also, I think what was, I guess I'll use the word frustrating for me, was like, dude, Gronk actually played in a regular season game and did something. He did nothing last year in the regular season, and then he goes on this amazing playoff run like Gronk usually does.
Yep.
And it looks like he is coming to play this season, catching all 8 balls that he got thrown and 2 TDs.
Yeah, it was funny because before the game, I was talking to my girlfriend's cousin, and he was telling me about his fantasy team, and he has Zeke, he has Gronk, and he has Zerline. And I was trying not to be mean. I was trying to sugarcoat it, saying, "Oh, that's not bad." But I knew Zeke wasn't going to do anything last night, and I didn't think Gronk was going to. But like you said, Gronk balled out last night.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess that's enough talk on this game.
Yeah, I could go all day with this game.
Got a lot of stuff to get through, but yeah, 400-yard receivers: Amari Cooper, AB, Chris Godwin, CeeDee Lamb. No running game. Defense: 4 different guys had over 10 tackles, 10 or more there. But I think the best performance, Shaq Barrett, with a sack, tackle for loss, 2 QB hits. Probably. I mean, unless you want to put Carlton Davis. That's supposed to be Davis, not David. I think autocorrect got me on that one.
Great. And just one more quick thing. I don't normally like defending Tom Brady, but neither one of those interceptions was his fault. Obviously, the one was on the Hail Mary pass. That's a 50-50 shot anyway. And then the other one went right through Leonard Fournette's hands. So,
yep,
I don't blame him for either one.
Yeah, Lenny, regardless of him catching 5 balls, could have had a lot more. He dropped a couple. And he was targeted at, I believe, 7 times. So those 2 drops that he had, yeah. Okay. Cowboys covered +9 over 53. All right, NFL news. Actually, we're going to start off with NCAA news. Probably not mainstream news, but UConn will have a new head coach. I don't know I didn't hear who they asked to be the interim, but UConn head coach Randy Edsall officially stepped down immediately. Was going to retire at the end of the year. UConn's gotten blown out, or they got blown out week 0. And then they lost to FCS Holy Cross this past weekend. So I think that was probably the last straw for the athletic department. And they're like, no, you're not going to last the season. Step down right now or we'll fire you. So UConn's going to be looking for a head coach. I'm down UConn. If you want, like I can go in with the Matt Rule approach and just, get them back. But
I get that UConn got blown out the last 2 games, but when was the last time they were actually good though?
They didn't get blown out. They didn't get blown out last game. It was just they lost to an FCS team.
Well, still.
I think we said 2012 is when they went to a bowl game last.
Yeah, something like that. But I don't know. I never really have high expectations for UConn, at least in the football world. Obviously, they're really good in basketball, but yeah, in football, I don't ever really have any sort of expectation for them. So we'll see if the new coach actually makes a difference.
Yeah. I still think, I know it's money. There's a lot of money in the FBS, but we've seen teams. We've seen teams go down. Usually you don't see that, but it's happened. Idaho went down from the FBS to the FCS because they couldn't compete at the FBS level. And I think that it should be a discussion. There's a couple teams. UConn, New Mexico State are the 2 that always pop up in my head that are just historically terrible. And it's like, dude, why? Why are you putting these kids through this? Okay, the other more important, probably, NCAA tidbit, the Big 12 unanimously sent invites to join the conference to BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, and UCF. This happened yesterday, I believe, right? Or
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Wednesday.
Big moves. It's interesting that, and I kind of like it. I mean, I don't really remember when the last reconfiguration happened. Just like knowing what was going on at that time, but yeah, I'm excited to see how the new conferences pan out. If there's any more movement or not, if it's just OU and Texas, BYU, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF. Like I said, I think this now prompts the American Conference. They have to look for someone else. They have to go and say, all right, can we get Boise State away from the Mountain West? Can we? I don't know. I don't even know who else. That's the thing. It's like,
so
who the American go after now, though?
What I find intriguing about this is they've invited them in 2023, and OU and Texas supposedly aren't leaving until 2025, and the buyout is $72 million each in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know if it's a way to get everybody into the league and maybe get a little bit bigger cut for these teams as they come in, or forcing the hand of getting some money, some more money as OU and Texas leave. And then when you think about expansion, I've been in conversations about this. I was around when the Big East kind of was dismantled basketball-wise, and the ACC took Louisville and Syracuse and those schools. Is if you start saying, and those are the teams that the AAA, the American Athletic Conference, should look at, but then you have to go all the way to Idaho, and meantime you have East Carolina and North Carolina, and that's okay football-wise because they both, make a lot of money. But if you have to play a tennis match or a soccer game, those teams don't even make enough money to fly out there, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And so I do see these teams joining these leagues, but at that point, it's nothing to do with student athlete, development, because they're going to be on buses for long, long trips.
Yeah, I just wonder if it's just for football though.
I mean, I think it could be the way that Notre Dame played in only ACC basketball, for example, because then I think what would be in the best interest of the American Athletic Conference is to drop UConn and say, hey, we're dropping you as a football school. We're keeping you as a basketball school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or actually, UConn's going back to the Big East. Sorry. That's already.
Yeah, a lot of realignment. I'm excited about it. And even though we won't actually see until 2023 at the earliest, which I don't know. Maybe I'll be involved at that point. I don't know. Probably not, because I don't want to do collegiate athletics, but never know. We could see Mark in there.
Yeah.
As well. So
Maybe the
all right. NFL news. We actually had a big trade for once. With day two compensation swapping.
Yeah.
So the Saints or the Texans, they traded corner Bradley Roby to the New Orleans Saints for a 2022 third-round pick and a conditional 2023 sixth, I believe it was.
Yep.
As well as the Texans paid $7 million of Roby's salary. That essentially was the third-round pick. It was a third-round pick for $7 million and a sixth-round pick for Roby.
Yeah.
That's essentially how the trade works. And then the Saints are only going to have to pay $1.8 million to him this season. He is suspended for week 1, which I'm so excited about, Chris. Absolutely love that he's still suspended for week 1 against the Packers.
I mean, I don't think he would have really made a difference anyway, because it's against the Packers and the Saints secondary, specifically the corners, are really probably their worst position overall.
Other than Lattimore.
That's what I'm saying. Lattimore is the only good one. The rest of them, I don't know. But yeah, I didn't mind this trade too much. I'm so about the third round pick, but like you said, we're getting Bradley Roby for essentially like, what's that, 80-90% off? So yeah, I mean, that I'm fine with, but we'll see how he works out. I've never really been a huge fan of his, but I'm hoping he turns into one of the best corners in the league now.
Thing that's weird about it for the Texans, though, he was their starting corner. He was their best corner.
I believe that they are tanking for the first pick now. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, they're just trying to stockpile picks. And the thing is
tanking.
They didn't get any first round picks for any of the players that they've traded.
Oh, they have.
So
but
they have a lot of day 3 picks.
The person that's in charge is used to those day 3 picks in an organization that he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm not sold still on.
I don't know if they really need to go for the number 1 pick though, because I don't think that they would go for the defensive end if they really got the first pick.
I don't think they're really tanking, but their roster is not necessarily put together well, if that makes sense.
Not at all.
Yeah. It's just if they could get a new owner, and we'll have to see how David Culley works out. I Nick Casario is a really good evaluator, but I'm not so sure about David Culley as the head coach yet.
Right.
Granted, he has a lot of high recommendations, specifically coming from Baltimore and having John Harbaugh be his number one fan, essentially. So, okay, let's go to Washington football team. So, CEO Tanya Snyder, she was on Adam Schefter's podcast. She dropped 8 names. She said that she clarified, though, that these 8 names aren't the final list, but a lot of people think they are, just because why would she drop only 8 names if there was an entire list still? But potential team names for 2022 and beyond, these were the 8 that she told everyone on the podcast. So the Washington Red Hogs, Defenders, Armada, Presidents, Brigade, Commanders, Red Wolves, and Washington football team.
I see anything that is tied to Capitol Hill, so like the Presidents, Brigades, Commanders, and possibly the Red Wolves. The other ones were awful. The Red Hogs, who got paid to come up with that?
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I think that if they are going to change the name, it will be to one of those presidential type names or anything tied to the government, whatever. But
I bet you they keep football team. Watch.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like when they changed their name to football team at first, but it's kind of grown on me over the year that they've been the Washington football team. So I actually wouldn't mind if they ended up keeping that.
Or why don't they call it the Washington Football Club like soccer teams? And then it just encompasses everybody. And that's why I think possibly keeping the Washington football team so people can hang on to their history and then, hey, we encompass everybody as a fan of our football team.
I don't like it.
I don't either.
Because you know why I don't like it specifically? Because when we're going through the games, I'm like, all right, Eagles at Colts, Chargers at Seahawks, and then I'm like, Cowboys at Washington. Yeah. I got to say Washington, and I can't just say what their team name is.
Well, I mean, if you look at the Washington Nationals, then they're probably going to be, the Washington Commanders or the Washington Presidents.
That was the one that stuck out to me out of the list of 8. I think Washington Commanders is pretty solid. The other one was Brigade. I think Brigade would be solid, but I think not too many people are sure exactly what a brigade is. I know I don't know specifically what a brigade is. So I think Commanders is pretty solid. I know the issue that with the Red Wolves name is that what was rumored if the Red Wolves would be picked was that they were just going to rip off Arkansas State's logo and use that as their logo, because Arkansas State's literally the only team that is the Red Wolves. So
I thought they could be called the Red Tails and then have like that was part of our history and have a plane with painted as a red tail. I mean, if you're gonna do red.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Ongoing situation in Washington. Let's get to all these little cap movements here. So it's going to be the same thing every time for the next, 7 players, something like that. So it's going to be the team converted this amount for this player's base salary into a signing bonus, creating X amount of cap space. So let's go ahead. Giants, they did that $5.985 million of wide receiver Sterling Shepard's base. That created $3.99 million for them. Titans, this was a big one. A lot of cap savings here. $14 million of wide receiver Julio Jones base. That helped create $11.2 million. They also added 2 void years on the end of that. for cap purposes. The Cowboys with Dak, $6.25 million of his base into a signing bonus. That helped create $5 million in cap savings. The Bears converted $5.825 million of tight end Jimmy Graham's base. That's created $4.66 million. They also added 4 voidable years to Jimmy Graham's deal. And then Raiders converted $2.51 million. Dean Carl Nassib's base into signing bonus, $2.008 million in cap space. And then Niners converted $7.8 million of safety Jimmy Ward's base into signing bonus, $5.85 million in cap space. And didn't get numbers on this one, but the Giants also did the same with most of defensive back Logan Ryan's base salary to create some space there as well. So a lot of cap maneuvering, trying just to, get a little cushion on the cap limit to be able to maneuver during the year. All right. Suspension. Cowboys just today. Cowboys offensive tackle Lyle Collins. He is suspended for the next 5 games of the season. Violated the NFL's substance abuse policy. Ian Rappaport reported that it was said that he missed drug tests, and that is why he is being suspended for 5 games.
Huh.
That seems a little steep, though, for just missing the tests. I mean, I could understand like 2 or 3 games, but 5?
I don't know. I'm just telling you.
The regular season was 4.
I can't remember. Is he a repeat offender for that?
Believe so. I mean, we know what happened during the draft. Why he was undrafted.
Right.
Had the whole drug issue there. But
Wait, no, he wasn't the one with the gas mask, right? That was Laramie Tunsil?
yeah,
That was tough.
That's what I thought.
yes. But Lyle Collins also has a history of PEDs and such.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
Extension time. Deadlines create a lot of work to get done. And that's exactly what happens when the NFL season is rolling around and teams want to lock in their stars. So we're going to go big money to small money. So let's start off with the Steelers. Linebacker TJ Watt signed a 4-year, $112 million extension, $80 million fully guaranteed. Funniest thing about this story was that he said, "I don't care what you say, agent." He marched into Art Rooney's office and said, "Whatever the deal is, give me the paper. I'm signing it. Let's go play."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that just, I loved that part of the story too, because like that showed, to me at least, that he's not all about the money. He knew he was getting a large contract regardless. He just didn't care about those couple extra million he probably was going to get if the agents kind of dragged it out. But I mean, he's still young and he only signed 4 years, so he's going to be in line for another big payday in a couple of years. So yeah, I think this is a great contract all around.
Let's be honest, you can live off that much money even if he doesn't sign another contract.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, he's deservingly so. I mean, when you talk about the best defensive player in the league, he's right there with Aaron Donald, right? And I think there's a lore to playing for the the Steelers. Sorry, and I've said this before. I love that organization. They stuck with Cowher. They have consistency. They don't switch coaching all the time, and so I just love that he signed a contract, and I hope that he continues to be good and retires a Steeler.
Yeah, that's the thing with the Steelers is they have a mantra of this is what you're worth to us. If you don't like that, bye. It happened with Antonio Brown. It happened with Le'Veon Bell. I mean, Antonio Brown had off-field stuff too, but specifically with Le'Veon, it was, we're going to pay you this much. If you don't like that, go. That's fine.
And he hasn't found the system like he had in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And, you know, it works for the Steelers. They've said bye to a lot of great players. And usually they don't work out with other teams. Emmanuel Sanders was another one. I mean, he has had a fantastic career other places and overall, but he's moved around a lot.
Mostly in Denver. He had probably the best part of his career, but
he was pretty good with the Niners too. But yeah, I mean, I think it's probably going to end up happening with Juju too next year when they go through the whole contract situation again, because they like their young guys and they're not going to pay Juju a lot of money when they have guys like Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson who are upcoming superstars. So,
yeah, like you said, the Steelers are one of the best organizations when it comes to that. The Patriots are another team that come to mind. They would rather get rid of their guys early than pay them when it's too late. And obviously we've seen what they did. Granted, I'm realizing now a large part of that was probably Tom Brady. But still, the Patriots as a whole team, though, are still really good. And, yeah, the Steelers are just the same. Yeah, they haven't had the Super Bowl success over the last decade, but they're still always in it. When was the last time they had a losing season? I don't think they've had a losing season in a really long time.
Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season as a head coach.
That's what I'm saying. So, yeah, they're always a class organization, always towards the top of the league. So, yeah, they know what they're doing.
All right. Next extension here, Vikings. They signed right tackle Brian O'Neill to a 5-year, $92.5 million extension. He now becomes the second highest paid right tackle in the league. I didn't look it up, but I'm assuming that is Lane Johnson. That is the highest paid right tackle. I would assume.
I don't know much about that guy, so I don't really know. Was he actually worth that much money?
Yes, he definitely is one of the best right tackles in the league. He flies under the radar. I think partly because he plays right tackle and not left. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings got a really good steal. I mean, they drafted him in the second round. He's on the last year. He was on the last year of his rookie deal this year. So now signed for 6 more seasons. It's definitely a good move. Vikings have been notorious to get into bad contracts, but I think this one is one that they won't regret. So. Let's get to Chris's boy, Ravens. They signed tight end Mark Andrews to a 4-year, $56 million extension. Very well deserved.
Yes, great move on their part. Obviously, the Ravens are not a passing team, but when they do pass it, they usually look in his direction. And I mean, yeah, he's definitely a top 5 tight end in my opinion. Possibly even top 3. I don't really know who's that number 3 tight end exactly, but I think Andrews has a shot at being the number 3. But yeah, I think that was a great contract. It's not too much money for the Ravens, and he gets to stay there in Baltimore for another 4 years.
Yeah, it's definitely solid. It's was it 14 per year,
something like that.
Yeah, so pretty solid on his part, being the number 1 receiver. That is one thing that I wonder if his agents brought up in negotiations, because he's not a receiver, but he acts as their number one target in the passing game.
Yeah.
So they don't really have a claim like some of the guys, like going back to the Steelers and Le'Veon, where he was like, okay, pay me as a running back, your number one running back and your wide receiver too. Or guys that are in such a TJ Watt situation, or the D end outside linebacker conversation. That's another one that's always a big one as well. So, but he got his money, so he's pretty happy. At least one thing was positive this week out of Baltimore.
Oh yeah.
We'll talk about all the other stuff that happened in Baltimore in a sec. But last extension literally happened right before the show. I know Chris was questioning it. I too have questions about it. But the Colts, they signed running back Nyheim Hines to a 3-year, $18.6 million extension, $12 million guaranteed. And that was the weirdest one by far out of the four.
Yeah, I mean, is he the backup or the third string?
Technically, he's the backup, but I was having this conversation with someone else yesterday because I drafted in like one of the last 2 rounds or something like that. I drafted Marlon Mack in fantasy because I'm like, dude, if Jonathan Taylor goes down, I don't trust Nyheim Hines to be able to run the football between the tackles. I trust Marlon Mack because he's a former 1,000-yard rusher. He's done that. He's durable enough. He had the one injury that was, season ending last year, but he's durable enough that he can carry the load running the football, not just catching. Mm-hmm. I feel like Nyheim Hines is a prototypical pass catcher out of the backfield, and not necessarily a running guy.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I just didn't understand this contract at all. Yeah, it's only 18 million or whatever for 3 years, but that's, I feel like, a steep contract for a specific kind of skill set like that.
Yeah, 6.2 per.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, I don't. And $4 million per year guaranteed as well. That's
what's the max contract situation? Is he a free agent after this year, or is he signed through a couple of years?
Who? Marlon Mack. He re-signed this year for just this year.
Okay, so maybe they're already choosing that they're going to go with Nyheim Hines as the backup. I don't know. I wouldn't do that, but
yeah, I mean, I thought Marlon Mack looks pretty good, and in the preseason and refreshed coming off the injury. So we'll have to see what he looks like in the regular season and however carries he's going to get behind Taylor and Hines. So, okay, couple signings here. The Texans, they signed wide receiver Danny Amendola to a 1-year, $2.5 million deal. Another receiver for the Texans. Why not?
Oh.
Why not?
It's a familiar face for them. That's why. Or at least for the GM.
Yeah.
It certainly is. Yeah.
I think last we saw Danny Amendola was Detroit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, with Matt Patricia, wasn't it?
Yes.
Another New England disciple there.
Yeah, I believe he was still there last year. I believe Amendola was still in Detroit last season. He was one of Stafford's favorite receivers, though. He really was. I know Stafford liked him a lot, but they don't need any more receivers in LA. So, okay, let's get to the Ravens running back situation. So, I guess we'll start off with the injuries and then go into the signings.
Yeah.
Even though that's not how I have it written on the script, but so We already knew J.K. Dobbins was done for the year, torn ACL.
Yep.
Now, running back Gus Edwards also tore his ACL this week. Marcus Peters, all-pro corner, also done for the year with an ACL.
Oh, man.
So, what did the Ravens do? First off, they signed running back Le'Veon Bell to the practice squad. Then they signed running back Trenton Cannon to the active roster. Went back to the practice squad, signed running back Devontae Freeman there. And recently released from the Saints, the Ravens also signed running back Latavius Murray to a 1-year, $2 million deal onto the active roster. So they now have 3,000-yard rushers in their backfield between the practice squad and active roster. But it's going to be Tyson Williams is going to be the starter for Baltimore on Monday Night Football this week against the Las Vegas Raiders. That's who it's going to be. Great preseason for Tyson. Wasn't sure if he was going to make the roster. Was helped by the J.K. Dobbins injury to kind of open up a roster spot for him. Now Gus Edwards goes down. It's Tyson Williams.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people in terms of fantasy are upset over this whole Ravens situation. But I picked up Williams a couple weeks ago as soon as J.K. Dobbins went down. But then I was like, you know what? I have a better option. So I dropped him and picked up somebody else. Now Gus Edwards goes down, and now Williams is a starter. And now I think Williams is off the board in our league. So, yeah.
When this went down yesterday, I was in between classes, in between my torts class and my contracts class. I was so distraught going into contracts class. And I told everyone the same story over and over. I was so pissed off because my fraternity league had our draft Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
I drafted Gus Edwards in the 3rd round. It's the next day he does this. I'm like, are you kidding me? And of course, we moved to 14 teams instead of 12 this year, expanding by 2. Tyson Williams and Le'Veon both drafted. It's like, dude, come on.
I think my question is, do they make the playoffs still?
I think so. I mean, I think eventually it's going to be Williams, Trenton Cannon, Latavius, and then who knows, actually. I don't think it's a guarantee that Le'Veon gets activated because of Devontae Freeman being on the practice squad as well. One of the two are going to have to be activated, I think, as long as they want to keep 4 on the active roster.
Well, I honestly don't understand how Trenton Cannon has a job.
Because he plays special teams.
Yeah, that's probably the only reason. He's not there to be a running back.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he has gotten better since his days with the Jets, but he couldn't catch a ball. He couldn't do anything to save his life.
He was decent with the Panthers. He was the kick returner, I believe, for Carolina last year. And also, like I said, plays a lot of special teams. So, yeah, that was the biggest thing people were saying. It's like, well, your 3rd and 4th running backs are expected to play special teams.
Mm-hmm.
And Le'Veon, Devontae Freeman, Latavius Murray are not playing special teams.
No.
So that's the question is, okay, do you want 4 on the active roster? And only one of them is playing special teams? Or do you keep only 3 and Trenton Cannon play special teams? So
I think they literally just signed Bell and Freeman because they know something's happening with their running back, so they're just keeping them there for when Williams goes down.
dang, Chris, the negativity.
Well, something's going around in Baltimore because they're losing everybody.
Yeah, someone said they're having the Chargers issues. Speaking of the Chargers, though, your boy Chris, Titans, they signed kicker Michael Badgley to the practice squad today. Get another shot. So, not on the active, but they do have a kicking issue
on the roster.
They do have a kicking issue in Tennessee, though, don't they? I think who it is. Because it's not Gostkowski anymore.
Aren't they the ones that signed or didn't? Or no, never mind. That was the Panthers that traded for the guy from the Giants. Yeah, I don't know who their kicker is.
I think they actually have a young guy. Let me see their roster. Yes. Oh no, it is Sam Ficken. Sam Ficken.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, no,
they also have Tucker McCann as well.
I don't know much about him, but Ficken obviously was the Jets kicker last year, and I would be surprised if he was the Titans kicker at the end of the year.
Chris bringing the heat today.
There's just a lot of news about former Jets on this list today, so.
All right. Well, we won't talk about the Jets for a little bit, anyways. But all right, let's get to some injuries and some game time stuff here. The Saints, they placed wide receiver Traquan Smith on IR today with his hamstring injury. Would expect that to be the minimum 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I would think, even though hammies are iffy. Kind of makes me mad. I have him on Dynasty.
Yep.
And a couple other teams as well. And
yeah. I have him in our keepers league too, and I think he's in for a big season. But yeah, this injury really doesn't help the Saints for week 1 against the Packers. They didn't really have a chance to begin with, but now without their number 1 receiver, they really don't.
They're rolling out Marquez Callaway, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and Chris Hogan. What a starting 3. Now, Callaway can play. We saw that. But
yeah,
Humphrey hasn't proven anything, and we know Chris Hogan is old and likes to play lacrosse. So, all right. Injuries from last night. The Bucs corner Sean Murphy Bunting. Maybe that was one of the reasons why the Cowboys were able to throw all over the Bucs. They lost Sean Murphy Bunting to a dislocated elbow. Head coach Bruce Arians said it's not season ending, so good for them. But definitely going to be out a while.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even understand why he had to clarify that it wasn't season ending. I didn't think dislocated elbow was that major of an injury. So unless there's structural damage, then maybe. But I still think he could probably be back in a month, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Never had a dislocated elbow, so.
Yeah, I don't think it would be that serious of an injury either. But like you, I have no idea.
And then on the opposite side, Cowboys wide receiver Michael Gallup. He's going to be out 3 to 5 weeks. He has a calf strain. So just like hammies, calves are another one that are just finicky. So maybe I will start Amari Cooper from here on out, Chris. Especially when I play you. I'm starting Amari.
All right.
All right. Some game time stuff here. The Colts announcing quarterback Carson Wentz will start this week. So excited. Eagles are getting a first-round pick. Just stay upright, Carson. Just stay on the field.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might be starting the game, but how long is he going to play?
He's gonna play 75% of the snaps this year, Chris.
I mean, he's just lucky that he's playing the Seahawks week 1, and they don't have much of a defense. So
I don't know. They got better at the pass rush this offseason. Dunlap being there for a full offseason, we'll see. The Chargers running back Austin Eckler, head coach Brandon Staley said that he is expected to play despite having his hamstring injury. I know that was a big one for fantasy owners as well.
Yep.
Should I pick up Justin Jackson or not? Did you pick up Justin Jackson, Chris?
No, but he's probably one of my biggest decisions I have left. And I'm very thin at running back as it is. I think my third running back is Jamal Williams. So I don't really have much of a running game.
Well, I did hear, I don't know how much truth there is to this because I didn't see it on any social outlet that I follow, that one of my fraternity brothers brought it up in our league chat saying that DeAndre Swift was involved in a murder charge in Philadelphia.
Oh God.
Jesus.
But like I said, I haven't heard anything on that. So
Either of us.
I don't know how much of a
Williams is projected to get a lot of playing time though, because I think he's projected like 14 points. So I don't know why he's projected so much, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe. I think they're gonna run Swift pretty well. A lot. So one thing with the Lions though is that rookie offensive tackle Penei Sewell will start at left tackle this week. Left tackle Taylor Decker, he's out this week with a hand injury. So Dan Campbell announced Penei Sewell will start at left tackle, which is that's going to be interesting to watch playing against Nick Bosa in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
For one, because Sewell had been playing right tackle the entire training camp and preseason.
Yeah.
And now he's switching back to his natural position at left tackle. But how used to the movement did he get at right side?
Yeah.
Going back to left. I mean,
plus he hasn't played in over a year because he opted out last year, right? So yeah. He hasn't played left tackle in a game in a long time.
So, just like the Saints, the Lions already had an uphill battle, and now they're switching their right tackle to left tackle the week of the game. So, for the Eagles, safety Rodney McLeod is out. He is still coming back from his torn ACL from last season, so he is out this week. And then Seahawks left tackle Dwayne Brown, he will play despite his contract issue. He wants a new deal. Seahawks haven't given him one yet. He's like the only guy that has wanted a new deal that hasn't gotten one. One of the few that haven't gotten paid that actually want to get paid right now. And your Jets, Chris, wide receiver Jamison Crowder, he is out this week, still on the COVID list.
Yeah, and I also heard that Keelan Cole might not play either. So, yeah, Mims looks like he might be having a big opportunity, a big role for Sunday's game, as well as Elijah Moore. So we'll see if those two guys can step up in the absence of the other guys.
Oh, I didn't know Moore was back.
I believe he is.
I didn't hear anything on his status, so I haven't heard anything about Elijah Moore in a while. So
yeah, because he didn't really. I don't think he played at all in the preseason. If he did, it was very limited. So
right. Corey Davis will have a big game, that's for sure.
Yep.
Other side of New York here, Giants running back Saquon Barkley, he is officially listed as questionable. Believe he'll play. Not getting a full workload though. That's 100%, I believe. So it'll be a lot of him and Devontae Booker.
Another guy I have on fantasy, but I don't think he's startable in any position.
I concur. Also with the Giants tight end, Evan Ingram, he is out. He's dealing with a calf injury right now. Kyle Rudolph, pick him up, play him. Maybe not. He's going against Josie Jewell. So
Your favorite guy.
I probably wouldn't start Kyle Rudolph. Also, Daniel Jones won't have enough time to throw the ball anyways. because our boy, what's his face? Why am I forgetting his name, Mark?
Andrew Thomas?
Yeah. Because our boy Andrew Thomas is just going to let Von Miller go.
Just wreck him.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, bye, Von. Bye. Have fun with Daniel.
Wreck him.
And then last one here, the Texans officially announcing quarterback Deshaun Watson is out this week. The greatest designation that I've ever seen on a injury report. Not injury related. Great. Great description, Texans. So, yes, Deshaun Watson will not play this week. I don't understand why they really announced that though, because they already announced that Tyrod was starting before this. So I don't know. Kind of contradictory. And some workouts here. The Raiders, they worked out running back Kerryon Johnson. And the Texans, they worked out corner Drake Kirkpatrick. I was talking to Mark about that. I was like, that's so funny. They're like, oh, we'll just trade Bradley Roby, and then we're going to work out Drake Kirkpatrick. Probably going to sign him to fill his spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they signed him, but the Texans are just being the Texans. I have no idea what they're doing this year.
They're going to be the first team to go 0-17. That's what they're going to do.
I don't know. I think they have to fight the Lions for that title.
I don't think the Lions are going to be that bad, but I still stand by my under 5 wins bet. Jared Goff sucks. All right. Let's get to game previews. It is the best time of the show. Loving this slate this weekend. So, like we didn't have on Friday, we do have our records from last week. I looked them up, or from last season. So, for college, Mark won the college football title, 277-96. I finished second, 272-101. So close to keeping it under 100 losses. And then Chris came in last, 261-112. How many of those were Campbell picks, Chris?
Four. So I technically should have 265. Plus, I mean, I don't know how many
military
games we had, but I mean, Army did do very well last year. So
Navy didn't, though.
Navy didn't. So exactly. I probably had about the same record as you guys if I actually picked, actually picking. But yeah,
that's why I'm rolling with you on the military games this year. I'm not leaving you in the dark.
Fine. Oh, that's fine. I'll win. That's fine with me.
I do not feel my magic. I felt my magic last year. I was like, man, I feel good about these picks. The first few weeks, I'm like, gosh.
Yeah, and so these are our records from last week. I finished 1 game up on Mark, and then 2 games up on Chris last week. So pretty solid. Feeling out college football week 1. Not terrible. We didn't have a losing record, so
yeah, I think all 3 of us did pretty good. Obviously, I'm in the rear here, but I picked Campbell. Let's just put that out there. So
okay, so you tied with Mark for second. All right, let's get into our college football picks here. Massive slate. I believe we have 33 games. I apologize, guys, but what I did, ranked teams are always on the slate. And then it's tough after week 1 because I do any teams that are undefeated automatically get put on the slate. So any FBS 1-0 versus 1-0. There's a couple that are FCS versus FBS that are both 1-0, but I was like, no, we're not doing FCS versus FBS. Any FBS 1-0s versus 1-0s any ranked teams, and then any other games that I feel inclined to put on. So, teams that I love, like Western Kentucky, even though that's not the first game. But we got 4 games tonight or 3 games tonight on our slate. There's 4 overall. NC A&T versus Duke is the other one. But Kansas at number 17, Coastal Carolina. Coastal rolled over the Citadel last week. They beat Kansas last year. They're going to beat them again this year.
Yes.
Kansas, though, 1-0. Who would have thought when they beat South Dakota by 3 points?
Yeah, there's not much to say about this game. Coastal's going to roll. I think they're going to easily cover the spread.
Yeah,
and
it's actually 26.5 now.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for Coastal to be ranked in the top 10 eventually.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Not many marquee games on their schedule, but let's see. Over-under is 52 for this one. I think just over. I think Kansas can score 1. I think they can get 1, and that'll put it over.
2 field goals.
All right, that is at 7:30 tonight, ESPN2. All right, North Dakota at Utah State. Utah State is a 6.5-point favorite tonight, but we're all on the Skyhawks, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Only thing that scares me about this is I'm going off a lot of the pedigree of how good they've been. Last week, better quarterback play was with Utah State. So that's the only thing that makes me nervous.
Yeah, I mean, Utah State came back to beat Washington State in the nightcap last week, week 1. They have Arkansas State transfer Logan Bonner playing at their quarterback. But I love UND, dude. Tommy Schuster is still there at quarterback. Our boy, Otis Weah from the spring, is still running the ball there. He is fantastic. He opened the season. They beat Idaho State 35-14. Weah had a 22 carry, 114 yard, 3 touchdown performance against Idaho State. So very solid. Schuster was efficient, 14 of 18, 183 and a touchdown. And yeah.
See, I'm surprised that we all went with North Dakota. I went with them thinking that maybe you guys were going to go on the Utah train there, but because the Utah State's the favorite and all that. But yeah, I went with North Dakota also because I'm just more familiar with them than I am with Utah State, and I think that I'm kind of surprised that that the spread is that big.
Yeah, Luke Skokna also still running the ball at UND. And I think the game is really going to come down to, will North Dakota control the clock with their running game of Weah and Skokna, or will Logan Bonner? That's the biggest thing. I think the matchup to watch in this game is Logan Bonner versus the North Dakota defense, because I think the North Dakota defense is very solid.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have to see. Logan Bonner played very well against Washington State last week, but I don't know. We'll see. Over under this one is 54. I like the under.
Mm-hmm.
It was 49 points scored in that Washington State game. 49 also scored in North Dakota's last game. So 8 p.m. CBS Sportsnet. Last game we have for tonight's slate: 2-0 UTEP. Look at the Miners. At Boise State though. Boise State heartbreak loss to UCF in at the bounce house last week. They're gonna bounce all right. They're gonna bounce back in this one. The Broncos are gonna get it done at home on the blue turf.
Yeah, like you said, they lost a heartbreaker to UCF last week, but Boise State, like you said, I think that they still have what it takes. So I'm still riding with them this week. But if UTEP upsets them, I don't know. It might be a little early to jump ship, but I still might be jumping ship.
Yeah, Hank Bachmeyer and co. I believe Khalil Shakir should have another great game. UTEP's 2 wins, 30-3 against New Mexico State, and then only beating Bethune-Cookman last week by 10. So that is something. Not sure how good Bethune-Cookman is, but I don't think they're that good at FCS anyways. So this one is, actually Boise State 25-point favorite here, and then over under is 57. Let's roll the over. A lot of points from Boise. 9:30 FS1. Here we go. My boy Bailey Zappi heading to West Point. Now this is gonna be a fun game. I think it's gonna be one of the better games of the weekend, actually, just because it's 2 completely opposite styles. Western Kentucky's gonna throw the ball all over the field with Bailey Zappi, as seen by his 7 touchdown passes in week 1 against UT Martin. Army's gonna do the opposite. They're gonna run the ball every single play, almost like they did last week in their win, their romp over Georgia State. And what to see if the Army defense and secondary can hold up against the passing game of Western Kentucky or not.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously, real deal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously, I always pick the military teams, and Mark said he's doing the same this year, but I actually believe Army will win this one. They have all the tools to do it. They're probably the best military school out of all of them. And even though they have like the different style, the triple option or whatever else, but I think that's why they're going to win this one. I think they're going to control the clock, control the game the whole time. And I mean, maybe they don't cover the spread, but I still think they win this one.
Yeah, I got in on Western Kentucky at +7. It is now actually a 6-point spread for Army, dropped down 1 point. So the stats actually historically look very good for Western Kentucky going on the road to Army, just in their couple matchups that they've played. But I don't know. I am going to roll with Western Kentucky this entire year.
We know that one team has the capability of like a big explosive play down the field, which is, in my opinion, usually is the advantage. But I'm rolling with Chris, not leaving you alone. And I do like how Army does control the game, and I don't think their defense gets enough credit because your offense, you know what you're going to get, but they rely a lot on their defense.
Yeah, both defenses are going to be tested in different ways in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Over under 52. No, we're going under. Even with Bailey Zappi, I think that with how much Army controls the ball, there's not going to be as many opportunities to score. So under 52 is what I would think. It's an early one, 11:30 a.m. CBS Sports.
Wow.
Army always gets those early games for some reason. Before noon. Kicking off half hour before game day ends. All right. Next one.
Oh, wow. I thought someone would be on the Oregon train. Wow.
I would call it a big one. I don't think it's going to be a close game, though. Number 12, Oregon, heading to the Horseshoe to face number 3, Ohio State. 14.5 points for Ohio State right now. Like I said, I have no belief in Oregon that they can even be close to winning this game. For one, Anthony Brown played like crap last week. For two, Kayvon Thibodeau most likely not playing in this one with his foot injury, ankle, whatever it was. So, yeah, those are my 2 points. That's it. Like, Ohio State's going to roll Oregon this weekend.
Those are key points because I didn't like the quarterback play. And when you have, arguably your best defender on the sideline, that doesn't bode well. And what I thought was funny last week for Ohio State was, they didn't look good, but then the second half, well, you had a freshman quarterback that played, and he's got to go through, some lumps, but they're just capable of reeling off. And that was a key for me last week, 2 70-yard plays, right? Like, boom, down the field, and we score. And I think that's the difference. And in going back to the Western Kentucky, that's what they're capable of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Over-under is 64. I think we get it. I think it's over. I think Ohio State will be able to score at least 40 of those points.
Chris Olave, dark horse, Heisman winner.
Put your money where your mouth is, Mark. All right, 12 p.m. on Fox, big noon kickoff. Reggie Bush and co. All right, here's our first cupcake of the weekend. Alabama State at number 25 Auburn. Bo Nix is going to have a fun day in this one. Yeah.
Points. Hey, didn't they score 60 points last week?
Who, Auburn?
Yes.
Yeah, they put up 60 on Akron.
Hey, man. Akron's not very good, but that was their issue in the last few years is not being able to score and Bo Nix not making good decisions. So whatever Brian Hairston, isn't that the coach now?
Yep, Brian Harsin.
Is doing, it's working, even though it was against Akron, and it should work this weekend, of course.
Bo Nix completed 90.9% last week, 20 of 22. Tank should have a fun day as well. Tank Bigsby, they're starting running back there. The spread in this one, minus, what do you think? What do you think it is? It's big.
35.
Yeah, I was gonna say like 35.
49.
Oh.
There are some big ones like this in this slate today.
49?
Yeah.
49?
49.
That's so hard to go with, but I think that Auburn can do it.
Would you touch it?
I mean, they covered it last week. Technically, they beat Akron by 50. So
is Akron worse or better?
I think they're actually worse than Alabama State. Alabama State's actually a pretty decent FCS team. As they if their conference would have actually named a champion last year, I think only like 2 teams played in their conference, or 3, and they technically would have won the conference championship, but they didn't name a conference champion in the spring. So over under is 60. So do they get it by themselves?
I think it's possible.
I think they can do it. Score 63. That's fine. 12 p.m. SEC Network.
56-13.
They're not going to score 13. All right. This is actually one of my favorite games of the weekend. Pitt at Tennessee. I don't know if someone else wants to go first or not. I mean, I can go. Whichever.
I don't want to talk about the teams. I just want to say, since we have a lot of games, that every time we all pick the same team, it just never bodes well for us. We usually go 0-3.
Oh, well.
Well, that happened a lot this week. So, I don't know. What I'm going with in this game is quarterback play. Kenny Pickett for Pitt is very underrated.
Very underrated in the ACC.
And Joe Milton is not a good quarterback, guys, at Tennessee. He wasn't that good at Michigan. He's not that good at Tennessee. He didn't play that well against Bowling Green last week. No offense, Bowling Green. But, yeah. I think Pitt will win for sure. All right. And like I always say when we have a Pitt game, Pat Narduzzi knows how to coach defense. So
he is one of the most underrated quarterbacks. He's experienced and played in big games in the ACC, and I agree with you.
Over under is 57. I like the under in that one.
I do too.
12 p.m. ESPN. They get the big one on ESPN. All right, Battle of Florida. Number 13, Florida heading south to go to USF.
If we did locks in college, this would be a lock. USF is not very good right now.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and underlying storyline, Dan Mullen is going for his 100th victory in this game.
In his entire career, not at Florida.
Yeah, and in his entire career. Yeah. Yep. Go win it, Dan. 28.5 for the Gators. They should, I think they would cover. And then over under is 59. It
was 45-0 against NC State.
Yeah.
That's still tough, though. Still tough.
Only thing is, Florida only scored 35 against FAU last week.
I know their defense was kind of what was surprising in that game.
Yeah, 35-14 was that final score. So maybe under.
Yeah.
59. 1 p.m. ABC. Another very tough game. Chris is lone wolf in the Cowboys in this one, the favorites. Why, Chris?
I mean, that's a big reason why. Wyoming's the favorite. And I mean, I know Northern Illinois has their moments, whatever. But I mean, I didn't know you guys were gonna both go to Northern Illinois, but I'm kind of glad you did, because obviously we just saw I'm last in the standings, so I need to make up some ground, and any way I can is how I'm gonna have to do it. So this is one of those games. I'll be rooting hardcore for Wyoming this weekend.
I know Mark's rolling with me on this one. 2 reasons for this game why I picked NIU. First off, Wyoming only beat Montana State last week by 3 points.
Yeah.
Actually, I have 3 points. That was the first one. Second one, NIU upset Georgia Tech in Atlanta by 1 point. So that was a massive win, beating an ACC team. And third is NIU's quarterback, Michigan State transfer Rocky Lombardi, played excellently against Georgia Tech last week. So those 3 points, I think NIU can get this one, especially since it's at home.
I try to educate myself on this game, and I came down to the conclusion that, you have a Power 5 transfer quarterback that played well. The only thing that scares me is if you look historically at teams that actually knock off and have big wins, they don't always perform well afterwards. I don't know if it's like a high they come off of, and that kind of scared me. But Wyoming isn't the Wyoming that we have seen previously, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hate to go against my guys, Xavier Valade, star running back for Wyoming, but yeah, got to do it. Sean Chambers, the new quarterback there, threw a pick against Montana State. Like I said, only a 3-point win over a mid-tier FCS team. Not about it. Especially 7 points. Should not be 7 points. It should be under that. Over-under is low, 45 in this one. It was a 43-point total in the Georgia Tech NIU game. It was 35 in the Wyoming-Montana State game. So it'll be close, I think. It'll be very close. 1:30 ESPN Plus. Mid-Tennessee at number 19, Virginia Tech, coming off massive win on on a Thursday night against UNC, or Friday night against UNC. Yeah. Sorry, Blue Raiders. Not gonna happen. They put up 50 against Monmouth last week, but yeah, no.
I mean, Mid Tennessee is obviously a much worse opponent than UNC was last week for Virginia Tech, but I mean that's a big reason why I'm going with them this week too, because of their performance last week against UNC, and obviously they are the big favorite here, 20-point favorites. But yeah, I don't see any way that they lose this game.
Top 10 hardest place to play, maybe top 5 in all of college football, and they just play better with the fans in the stands, and I think they are well coached, and that's why I'm rolling with them.
Yeah, Tech a 20-point favorite. Over under is 55. I like the over in that one. 2 p.m. ACC Network Extra or ESPN Plus. One of the other games I really am excited to watch. Rutgers, 2.5-point favorites, going to the Carrier Dome against Syracuse. We make it a point every time we have a Syracuse game. They play well at home.
Yeah, they
do. My God, Greg Schiano and Rutgers put up 69 on Temple last week.
He's such a good defensive coach. That's exactly why I went with Rutgers. Could it be an even matchup? Sure. And is it at home? But Greg Schiano on the defense side of the ball. And then you add in, like you said, that 69 points. I was like, wow. Rutgers is going to be pretty tough.
Or 61. I thought it was 69. It was 61, but whatever. Yeah, and I mean, Syracuse beating Ohio by 20, 29-9. It
was ugly.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rutgers can do it. I have them minus 2.5 in my play this weekend. So, and it's actually down to 2 right now. So unfortunately, I lost out on a 0.5 point, but yeah, over under is 52, and let's go over, dude. If Rutgers wants to play that way against, now granted Syracuse is a lot better than Temple is, but yeah, I don't know. Big Ten ACC, so should be a good one. Should be sneaky good, I should say, because the general public looks at a game Rutgers or Syracuse, they're like, that game's gonna be crap. But I think it's gonna be sneaky good. 2 p.m. ACC Network. See, that's funny. They got the main ACC Network game, and Virginia Tech's on the ACC Network Extra. All right. Toledo at number 8, Notre Dame. Notre Dame coming off massive win at Florida State in overtime. Toledo, they beat Norfolk State 49-10 last weekend. Only 17. I was surprised it was only 17. But Toledo is one of the better MAC schools. So yeah, I think they'll stick around for a little bit anyways. And then eventually Notre Dame will pull away, especially if Jack Cohn plays like he did against FSU.
Mm-hmm. I'm not worried about that side of the ball. I'm going to be watching how the front line of Notre Dame plays. Are they going to get in the backfield? And also, let's hope that Brian Kelly does not end the game with any more terrible jokes.
True. This is very true. Yes. Over under is 56. I think it'll be very close to the number. I can't clearly define on which way it's going to go though.
I'll say that they go 60. So I think it'll go just over.
All right.
Okay.
Definitely won't be this one because I don't have Peacock. So 2:30 on Peacock though.
I don't have that one.
All right. Go Dogs, baby. UAB at number 2 Georgia, back in Athens for their first game of the season, home game of the year. Very excited. Do have an issue though. This point total has dropped. Started out about 25.5 and now is 23.5 because there's concern that JT Daniels might not play in this one. Got dinged up a little bit against Clemson. So it could be, reports out of Athens are that it could be Carson Beck as the starter in this one.
So,
Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say, so instead of beating them by 35, they're going to beat them by 30. Big deal. Mark, you were saying before about the other game being a lock. I think that this one is just as much of a lock.
I would hope so because of our defense being so good. We saw it on display right against top tier team. UAB, we all know the story of them, discontinuing the program, bringing it back. I do think though they are a competitive team. It doesn't mean they're on Georgia's level. And all I have to say is if you guys want to get woke up at 5:30, I will be putting my tailgating stuff up and can get you guys out of bed if you want. Go dog.
That's the thing, though. UAB has a very good defense as well. We saw them shut out Jacksonville State last week. Granted, Jacksonville State's FCS, but we know Jacksonville State is a top 10 team in the FCS, top 5 maybe even. And yeah, their offense played well. Their defense played extremely well, and this game is defensively has a combined point total given up of 3, with Georgia giving up the only 3 against Clemson last week. And the point total actually, after the Carson Beck news came out, has dropped another one. It's down to 22.5 now.
What I don't want to see is Georgia, overlook an opponent. Okay, we beat Clemson. We're awesome. Our defense is awesome. And people don't realize we got wide receivers out, and our running game didn't get established last week. So that's definitely going to be something that we probably see in this ball game. Back to that whole grind it out football, let our defense handle business, and let's run it down their throat.
Yep.
That it's going to open up some stuff on the outside. I hope they still look at it, down the seams at the tight end like we did against Clemson. So I think this is a early, I don't want to say adversity, but how does that next man up mantra for this team that has high aspirations?
Yeah, I think they officially announced that JT Daniels isn't going to play, and it's going to be Carson Beck. JT has a oblique strain. So yeah, I agree, Mark. Though it's going to be a lot of Zeus, Zamir White, James Cook, and Kendall Milton in this game, as well as maybe Brock Bowers will have another big game at tight end.
I'll tell you what, if they get in trouble, I hope that if that quarterback position is not playing well, I hope he has intuition to try something else.
I thought we were going to see Stetson again. I don't think UGA fans were ready for that again, though. Sorry, Stetson, but it was not great last year. Over under is 44. I think over. I think UAB can get 10 points.
Yeah. Well, Clemson only got 3. I don't know what I think.
This is true. Tyler Johnston played very well, though, last week.
Yeah, he did.
All right. 3:30 ESPN 2. Yeah, I don't like it this week, dude. Both my teams play at the same time. I don't like it. I got to decide which one I'm putting on the TV.
I don't think this is walkover for Georgia by any means.
Which one's going on my computer? All right. Number 5, Texas A&M heading on the road to Boulder, face Colorado. Yeah. Aggies rolling. I thought this might be a sneaky upset game, kind of trap game for A&M. But then I was like, yeah, Colorado's not I don't think they're the Colorado that they were last year. First off, they have a different quarterback this year with Brendan Lewis, a true freshman, I believe he is. Still love my guy Jarek Broussard at running back for the Buffs, but yeah, A&M is A&M. So
I circled this game going, is this one of them where I like try to catch up with Rusty because 2 Power Fives, and then I saw the new quarterback. Then I immediately said, there's no way in a year like this, after he signed another massive extension, that he can lose games like this. And I'm talking about this year. And so I said, I'm picking A&M.
Yeah, 41-10 win for the Aggies over Kent State last week. 35-7 win for Colorado over Northern Colorado in their week 1 game. A&M still 17 points. Over under is 50. I like the over.
Yeah.
3:30 on Fox. Murray State, the Racers, head into Cincinnati, Ohio to play number 7 Cincinnati. Bearcats, number 7, moved up 1 spot this week in the polls.
Guy I should have picked for Heisman.
They rolled over Miami, Ohio, 49-14. Murray State shut out Mississippi Valley State 35-0 last week. But yes, Desmond Ridder will have another field day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, that's the thing. I don't think he's number 1 right now because people have Bryce Young there. So,
oh yeah, I don't think he's number 1, but I think he very well could be by the year's end.
Yeah.
Or number 2, or at least be invited to New York.
I concur. And unfortunately, my JT Daniels Heisman campaign is probably not going to happen now because he's missing a game. Unless he just balls out in the last 10.
Well, unless we squeak out a win, and then it shows him how valuable he is to Georgia.
True. Yeah. Wasn't valuable in week 1, that's for sure. Cincinnati is 35.5-point favorites in this one. Do they cover?
I think so.
Over under 52. Over. Yes. 3:30 ESPN Plus. Ball State at number 11, Penn State. Nittany Lions getting 22 here. No, I don't think they'll cover that actually. I believe they've played Ball State before, and they've struggled somehow. I would have to look up the actual historical meetings between these two, but I believe, or no, that was App State a couple years ago that they struggled week 1 against. But yeah, they should be. They'll be able to beat Ball State. Defense for Penn State. Defensive big plays. It's looking like how they want to play that this year.
Yeah, I'm still not totally convinced about Penn State, but yeah, this week I'm fully in their corner here. I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't win this game.
Stout defense from what I saw against Wisconsin. Curious to see how the offense performs.
Yeah, and the thing is, Ball State only beat Western Illinois by 10, 31-21. So
the next one's going to be really close.
Over-under is 58 in this one. I think under, we know Penn State's defense. So 3:30 FS1.
This one's going to be real close.
All right, Mercer, 1-0 Mercer at number 1 Alabama in Tuscaloosa. If I were Mercer, I wouldn't even show up. I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, you're good. Like, we're good. You can have the game. Just give us money for the forfeit. That is how I would play it. I think this game is so bad. It is the only game on the FBS spread that they haven't set a line for.
I was about to ask what the line was, and because there wasn't one on here.
There isn't one. They don't have one on ESPN.
It'd probably be like 60 right now.
No, I think it would be higher than that, actually. I think people think that they're going to put up 70s, 80s on her.
Here's a better question. When does Nick Saban not play his starters? When do they stop playing?
First quarter.
That's what we should be betting on.
After the first quarter. I think Alabama could legitimately be up 35-0 after the first quarter.
ESPN has Alabama a 99.9% favorite in this one. So Mercer has a 0.1% chance of winning this game. How much do you think that bet is worth?
That's pretty good. I would say that I would go into the locker room and say, all right, third strings, let's game plan for how we're playing the second half. Everybody's getting minutes in this game, boys.
The thing is, the third strings for Alabama are probably the starters for Mercer.
I mean, Mercer, though, did win 69-0 in their last game.
Against Point University, who I don't even know if they're D2 or not.
Yeah, I was like, I've never heard of that.
I've never even heard of Point University. Mark, you put two fingers up. Are they D2?
Yeah, they're D2. They're D2. And you know whose brother plays on Mercer?
No.
She was in it. Why am I? Oh, Lane Hatcher.
Oh.
Do you have any classes with her? He's a lineman.
Yeah. Alex's friend, also Caleb, is backup kicker because he was having COVID and he apparently went viral by missing an extra point to keep it at 69-0 instead of 70. So I don't know. I didn't see it.
Hopefully she gets to go down there. She's doing big things at South Carolina now.
Like I said, there wasn't a line, so there wasn't an over-under on it either. So I have no points for that one. 4 p.m. SEC Network, though, if you're so inclined to watch.
Do we think Mercer scores at all?
No.
Not even a garbage time point?
No. I don't even know if they'll get a first down.
Oh, God.
That's why I said I think it could legitimately be 35-0 after the first quarter.
I kind of want to watch just to see the destruction that will be Mercer.
It's one of those I'll have on my phone just to see the stats as they pop up in the score.
The stat that I will be looking out for: does Bryce Young have more touchdowns than incompletions?
Oh,
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't play the whole game and he throws for 6 touchdowns and he goes 6 of 8, or I mean, I don't know. That's tough. No.
This is why I wish Alex was still on. Talk about Mercer.
I don't see 10 of 12 for 6 touchdowns. And then
I think we've talked too much about this game.
Let's go to the Battle of Iowa. Let's go.
Battle of Iowa, top 10 matchup. Number 10 Iowa heading to Ames to face number 9 Iowa State. The Cyclones getting 4.5. Was kind of surprised we all picked Iowa State.
Yeah, I thought someone would get on Iowa train.
Even with their struggle against Northern Iowa last week, I still believe wholeheartedly in the offense of Breece Hall and Brock Purdy, as well as Mike Rose in the defense for Iowa State.
Those two offensive names is why I went with Iowa State. I mean, I'm just rolling with a little bit more star power. Can come back and but
yeah, Iowa State, like you guys said, the quarterback and running back, those are two of the biggest names in college football right now, I think, especially Breece Hall, the running back. And, I mean, I have them as my number 6 team in our predictions there that we had last week. So I'm still rolling with them. I'm going to keep rolling with them until they prove me why I shouldn't.
Yeah, tough start to the season for Iowa State. I mean, they get 2 in-state matchups against UNI and now Iowa. I mean, Iowa shocked, I think, a lot of people by destroying Indiana last week. Helped by 2 pick sixes, 3 interceptions overall for the defense. But
their defense has historically, I think, for like 4 years straight, they've kept people at 24 and under points per game. And
it is it's 23 straight games of less than 25 points against them. But
maybe
fine.
I should have.
It's fine. Iowa State won last week, only scoring 16, so that's fine. Iowa State has a defense too.
They do
play, and I will once again say, I am not a Spencer Petras believer, quarterback for the Hawkeyes. So I am a Tyler Goodson believer, though. This is a star-studded running back matchup. Tyler Goodson, Breece Hall. Absolutely love the running backs in this one.
Gosh, I sell that crap.
Over under is 47. We're going under. We just said 23 straight. I think it's home games though, Mark. I think it might be home games 23 straight.
Might be home games. It's some weird, it's some big number or like glaring number.
Yeah, but like I said, both defenses I think are very good. So I think under 47, even with the star power running back on each side, I think is still a good play. 4:30 ABC. South Carolina State at number 6 Clemson, in-state matchup here. Yeah.
It's weird.
We're not going to talk as much about this game as we did Alabama.
All I have to say is it just looks weird seeing Clemson with 0-1 this early in the season. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. We'll have to see. Do they score more than 3 points?
Yes.
I will say, though, South Carolina State is actually, really pretty decent at the FCS level. They only lost by 1 point last week to a I forget what the FCS Heisman is called, but an FCS Heisman candidate. They played Alabama A&M last week and lost by 1. They have quarterback Akil Glass is really good at Alabama A&M. So 1 point loss for them, 7 point loss for Clemson against Georgia last week. It is again a 49 point spread in this one for Clemson. What do we think? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I know Georgia's a totally different animal than South Carolina State, but they still only scored 3 points last week. So I don't know. I don't really believe in their offense too much right now.
Especially the offensive line.
Yes.
Over-under is 57. I think it goes under. I mean, like I said, South Carolina State scored 41 against Alabama A&M last week. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe, but the thing is, I don't think South Carolina State's going to score that much. But like you said, Chris, the offense, even, playing an elite defense last week, but it's still not good. I don't think Clemson's going to score over 50 in this one. 5 p.m. ACC Network. Another cupcake one. Western Carolina at number 4 Oklahoma. Pretty decent distance to travel to Norman.
Yep.
Yeah, it is 49.5 for the Sooners in this one. WCU, their loss last week was a 31-28 loss to Eastern Kentucky. And obviously, we saw Oklahoma struggle against Tulane last week.
I would like to see how they look this week. That's all I have to say. I don't think they're going to have a challenge compared to Tulane, but I just want to see how they look. Both sides of the ball.
Yeah. Over under is big one, 65.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it goes under. I think Oklahoma is going to score in the 50s, not the 60s.
Yeah, Oklahoma's another team that I feel like looked a little shaky last week. So, granted, again, this is a much weaker opponent than what they faced last week, but still, I don't know. I don't know if they could do enough on their own to cover the over/under.
All right, number 15, Texas heading to Fayetteville
Huh?
to face the Hogs, Art of Arkansas. Horns looked good last week against a quality opponent in Louisiana, one of the better Sun Belt teams there are, and a ranked team at that to that point. What to see if Hudson Card plays the entire game like he didn't last week for some reason that I still don't know.
I think Arkansas is well coached, and I know that they have a loyal fan base. I'm going off of somebody that is going to be consistently brought up, and that's the Texas running back. And go with someone like that. I've stated before that I love Steve Sarkisian's play calling and how he puts people in different positions to get the ball. So I believe they win with that combination.
Yeah, I agree. Bijan should have another very solid game. Arkansas, they won last week 38-17 over Rice. So the over-under is 57 in this one. Texas put up 38 last week, so did Arkansas.
Yeah.
It just doesn't, to me, feel like a high-scoring game, though. I don't know why. Gut feeling is under 57.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's no marquee quarterbacks going against each other. So your players that need the ball, really, like Texas on the ground, is going to eat up more clock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Forgot to say for the Oklahoma game, didn't have a network attached to it, but that one's at 7 o'clock. And then this Texas game is also 7 p.m. on ESPN. Eastern Michigan at number 18, Wisconsin. The dumbest scheduling thing that I've ever seen is Wisconsin played Penn State at noon last week. They're playing Eastern Michigan at 7 o'clock.
Right.
What is that? Yeah. The Badgers should have a bounce back game against EMU. Not going to be an issue here.
I agree. Moving on.
Just want to say, update, Trey Lance will be active this week, even with his broken finger that he had. He's good to go. And back up Jimmy G. The over-under for this one is 52. No, under.
Yeah, Wisconsin's not exactly a high-scoring offense.
Defense, very good. 7 p.m. FS1. All right, y'all. I'm excited for this game. Appalachian State at number 22, Miami. Chris is lone wolf in the Canes for good reason. They're the ranked team and the favorite. Go, Chris. De'Aaron King.
Well, yeah, I know you guys are both kind of not feeling De'Aaron King or Miami at all really this year. But I still am riding the Miami train for the time being. I'm not saying that De'Aaron King is going to all of a sudden turn it on and be the Heisman this year or whatever, but I think he's going to do enough to win games this year, and this one is where they're going to start. Obviously, they're 0-1, but they faced a really tough opponent last week. they were not winning that game. Like the schedule makers or whatever, they set them up to fail in week 1. But now they're facing a much easier opponent. Not saying Appalachian State is an easy opponent, but it's a much easier opponent. And I think that being in Miami, being at home, and being the favorite, I think all signs are pointing to Miami winning this one.
You gotta gain a game if you're behind, but I rolled same team with Rusty, and I just like App State in these big games. They've showed before that the stage is not too big, and I like picking underdogs a lot. I really do. Only thing that scares me about App State is the quarterback play. You know, he's bounced from Clemson to Duke, and it wasn't very good. And the more that we talk about the Alabama-Miami game, Miami might be really ticked off and ready to really take it to somebody. But I'm still rolling with App State.
Yeah, Chase Bryce and the Mountaineers put up a 33 to 19 win against East Carolina last week. Yeah, I'm not as skeptical about Chase Bryce because I think he has learned from his time at Clemson and Duke and kind of grown up coming to App State as a grad transfer. My thing is I think App State has more pieces around him than Miami has around De'Aaron King. Now, they do have Cameron Harris at running back for the Kings, but Nate Noel at running back, Thomas Hennigan at wide receiver. Thomas Hennigan at wide receiver is really probably my favorite player in this game, actually. Fifth-year guy. Love Thomas Hennigan at wide receiver. But, I'm rolling with the Mountaineers in this one. I think App State can get it. I have the over in this game. It's now up to 55, and actually Miami's 8.5 now, dropped by 0.5 point. And it's over under is 55. I have the over. I got it in at 54.5. I think there should be a lot of points scored in this one. So 7 p.m. ESPN. NC State and Mississippi State. This spread has dropped, and I'm not sure why. It is down to 1.
Wow.
For the Mississippi State looked like crap last week, even though they won.
Yeah, that was my thinking, and NC State looked good, and every time I picked against NC State last year, I lost. So I rolled with my in-laws favorite team. But it's one of those where you could probably roll a dice. Am I right or am I wrong? Leach, sometimes they play really well and look good, and other times they look frantic and win at the last minute, and other times they just get blown out.
Yeah, 45-0 for NC State over USF, and then a 35-34 massive comeback, the biggest comeback in Mike Leach's career, I believe it was. A 20-point comeback. They were down 34-14 to Louisiana Tech and won on a touchdown with 3.5 minutes to go, 35-34. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. They have the capability to do that, though, to strike relatively quickly in that offense. But I love Donovan Knight, running back for NC State. I mentioned him in the USF preview last week. He performed admirably with 163 yards off 16 carries and a touchdown. And Devin Leary is pretty good. I mean, he's not the greatest, definitely not the most athletic quarterback, but he can get the job done. And I'm not so sure if that is the same thing as Will Rogers at quarterback for the Bulldogs. Over under is 56. I was kind of surprised it was in the 50s, considering it's Mississippi State.
Mm-hmm. And NC State scored 45 last week.
Yeah, I think it'll go over. As long as NC State can get Donovan Knight going again, and use that play action to help Devin Leary out, I think Wolfpack should be able to get it there. 7 p.m. ESPN2. North Texas at SMU. UNT got their win 44-14 over Northwestern State, FCS school. SMU, they blew out Abilene Christian 56-9. So neither team has a quality win at this point. Both playing FCS opponents last week and blowing them out. SMU's breaking in a new quarterback this year after Shane Buechele departed, but it is Tanner Mordecai, seen before, played. He's an Oklahoma transfer, so he played under Lincoln Riley for 2 years or 3 years, actually. No, 2 years. 3 years, 18, 19, and 20.
So he was under a quarterback whisperer. Let's see if he can whisper these Mustangs.
Also love this. I feel like I say this about a ton of guys, but running back in this game, Ulysses Gilbert, or Ulysses Bentley. Ulysses Gilbert is linebacker in the NFL. Ulysses Bentley for the Mustangs in this one. UNT lost a lot. Specifically, they lost their all-time leading receiver to the draft this year. I don't know why I'm brain farting his name right now. I plays for the Bucs. They drafted him. I can't recall his name though. I don't know why. Jalen Darden. That's who it is.
I wouldn't have got it.
Yeah, 22.5 for the Stangs in this one. They should be able to win. Not sure if they'll cover though. 74 is the over-under.
Wow.
I'm going under because I already hit a under 74 in that Ole Miss Louisville game. Even though I got scared at the end. I thought they were gonna score again because Ole Miss kept going quick, even with a 19-point lead. I was like, dude, stop! Like, slow down. But yeah, I would think that it would go under. Usually, when you have them in the 70s, it's very difficult to get to the number. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. Liberty at Troy. I've been saying this all week, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite me. I have Liberty -4. I think I got them at 4.5, actually. I have no idea why they're a 4-point favorite. Only 4. They should be a double-digit favorite in my mind. They have a Heisman Trophy candidate in freaking Malik Willis. And this is Troy.
It's at Troy, and Troy isn't like a walkover program, but I get what you're saying. I just believe Liberty has better personnel.
Yeah, and I mean they beat Southern 55-3, Southern University, and Liberty rolled over Campbell 48-7. And it's crazy though because the ESPN matchup predictor, according to ESPN's Football Power Index, gives Troy a 77.4% chance to win this game.
I don't know
how.
When I was going through the picks, though, I was tempted to go with Troy because, like you said, Liberty's the better team, and I too think that they should have a double-digit lead or whatever. But when I saw it was only -4, I was tempted to go with the underdog here to maybe make up some ground, but I just couldn't do it.
I mean, I think again, I think they should roll Troy. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, I mean, Vegas usually knows what they're talking about when they set numbers. So I don't know. It's just puzzling to me.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's, I mean, if I were Hugh Freeze, I would use that though.
As motivation.
I'd be like, dude, we're a freaking 4-point favorite against Troy. Only a 4-point favorite? Are you freaking kidding me? So yeah, I don't know. I would use that as motivation. Over under is another high one, 62 in this one. Close.
Tough.
It'll be close, I think. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. I am watching this game for sure to watch when Liberty destroys Troy. Memphis at Arkansas State. Tigers getting 5.5 here.
No, on the state train, huh?
Not this year. I haven't found a game yet like I did when I picked Arkansas State over Kansas State last year. That was the highlight of my college football betting, my college football pick'ems. But yeah, dude. Memphis, they beat Nichols State 42-17. Arkansas State beat Central Arkansas 40-21. And actually, I didn't know that the Red Wolves quarterback is James Blackman, former Florida State starter.
Florida State.
Yeah.
He seems like he would be like 50 years old now. I'm just kidding, but really.
And I wonder if this is Thomas Hennigan's brother that is the starting quarterback for Memphis, Seth Hennigan.
From Memphis.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I like the Tigers in this one. It's kind of an odd game that I don't know too much about any of the players really. But 1-0 versus 1-0. I told you this is what we're doing week 2. So over under is 65. No. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. I'll just keep saying that. 7 p.m. ESPN Plus for every game. All right. Another cupcake. Austin P at number 20 Ole Miss. We saw what the Rebels could do last week against an ACC opponent. Sorry, Austin P. This is going to be like when they played Cincinnati last year. They might be Austin P in their pants. Like I said, Ole Miss 43-23 or 43-24 win over Louisville. Austin P actually, I was kind of shocked. They beat Chattanooga 30-20. Chattanooga, decent FCS school. But yeah, Matt Corral should continue his potential Heisman campaign in this one. Maybe he doesn't play the whole game, but yeah. Minus 34.5 here for the Rebels. They'll cover.
Yeah.
And over under is 70.
Ooh.
We think Ole Miss gets it themselves.
70 themselves? It is lame in calling the plays, but that's still a lot.
I think they'll get close. I think they'll get close to getting in themselves. If Austin Peay can chip in like 2 field goals, I think it'll go over.
Austin Peay's got to get 10.
Yeah. I mean, I had in my mind Ole Miss can
60
score
to
between
10. 62 to 1.
Ole Miss can score between 63 and 65. So that's why 2 field goals gets you 71. So.
Yeah.
All right. 7:30 SEC Network Plus and ESPN Plus. Aren't they like the same thing? I didn't even know there was an SEC Network Plus.
I think they're right. Yeah, I don't know how to differentiate them.
But whatever. All ESPN networks. Georgia State at number 24, North Carolina. All right, Sam Howell, take your frustration out on the what are they again? The
Panthers.
Panthers? Okay, I forgot. But yeah, take it out somehow. Just Take your frustration
The
out.
one that gets overlooked in their loss is their defense actually performed, and it hadn't last year. They had to score a bunch last year. So I think the defense gets the job done against Georgia State, and I'm just curious to see how much he has to run for his life. If he's running for his life against Georgia State, it's going to be a very long year for UNC.
Mm-hmm.
True. Yeah, Georgia State getting rolled last week against Army. Obviously, like I said, Virginia Tech beating UNC last Friday. Over under, we keep going these high ones, 67. I don't think so. Georgia State proved last week that even with the guys that I think are pretty solid, Quad Brown at quarterback, what's his name? Coates. Dustin Coates at running back. They just didn't do anything. I mean, they only had the ball for like 17 minutes in the entire game against Army, but so they should get more opportunities in this one. But yeah, no. 7:30 ESPN 3. SEC matchup: Mizzou at Kentucky. Wildcats getting 5 here.
Yeah, this is one I struggled with. I thought Mizzou came on the scene last year with a new coach and performed better. I want to say that this is evenly matched, not only because they're in the SEC and SEC East, but I tipped the scale with the way that Kentucky performed in week 1.
Yeah, Mizzou, 10-point win, 34-24 over Central Michigan. Kentucky, 45-10 win over UL Monroe. My thing was I looked at the quarterbacks in this one. I'm rolling with my old Penn State boy, Will Levis. Played very well against UL Monroe, 367, 4 touchdowns. And I'm not so sold on Connor Bazelak.
That's I mean, when I say I'm going with week 1, I tend to look at the marquee, positions, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, maybe how the defense pressured. And so I agree with you on the quarterback play, but I wouldn't be surprised if Missouri somehow squeaks it out or it's close. It's one of those that,
Yeah, I think Missouri should cover though. They should be able to cover 5. I think it's more like a field goal game instead. Over under is 56. I think it just under like 53, 54 ish.
Yeah, I see that. I can see that.
7:30 SEC Network. Battle of Utah. Number 21 Utah heading to BYU to face the Cougs. Who I was surprised that they sort of struggled against Arizona in Vegas last week. But I will say their new quarterback played very well. Jaron Hall. He was being coached up by Zach Wilson last week though too, because Wilson was in Vegas for the game against Arizona. So
this is in my mind a big day, even though it's week 2 for the Pac-12. If you can get this win, even though BYU's not ranked, but they're a solid opponent, right? And then if you can get Oregon to beat Ohio State, which I didn't pick them, that's a really good day for Pac-12 football.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Charlie Brewer can get it done in this game against a very I think BYU is one of the better defenses. Not, just, I mean, granted they're not in a conference, but overall, I mean, BYU, I think realistically is maybe like a top 30 defense in college football. So really like Tyler Algier in this one as well. Should have another good game, 94 yards in the first game against Arizona. And over under is 49. I don't like that. I think it's a lower scoring game, even with Charlie Brewer. for the Utes. They have two good running backs in this one, with Tyler Algier for BYU, Davion Thomas for Utah. So 10-15 ESPN. Stanford at number 14 USC. Trojans getting 17. And yeah, Stanford played like crap against Kansas State last week, 24-7 loss, 30-7 win over San Jose State for USC. I like Keaton Slovis, Keontae Ingram, and the like. Drake London as well. Keep naming guys for USC. They got them all. And they'll get the dub at home.
Agree.
Over-under is 54. I don't think so because of Stanford's offense. And it sucks. It really sucks for Stanford offense because they have a really good running back in Austin Jones, and he just has nothing around him. 10:30 on Fox. Last game here before we get into FCS game of the week. UNLV at number 23, Arizona State. Arizona State. Second straight week in a row, they have a 30-plus point spread.
I just haven't – I mean, we know the quarterback who's under center, but I've got to see more. That's a big line.
Yeah, they didn't cover last week against Southern Utah. 41-14 win there. UNLV's, they lost by 2 to FCS foe Eastern Washington in double overtime, who I had called that game. Love Eastern Washington getting the win there.
When I saw this, I was like, Arizona State's going to have to come out and sling that football.
Yeah, I think they're not going to have a problem. UNLV. It's UNLV.
Total.
Over-under is it's actually 34 spread in this one. Actually went up by half a point. Over-under is 55.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to cover that, you got to get over 55.
Yeah, I agree. 10:30 ESPN 2. All right, this is the first installment of our special FCS game of the week. We're trying to continue to follow the teams that we fell in love with in the spring season. One of those teams that we really liked in the spring is included this week. It's not just going to be teams that we liked in the spring. It's going to be the best matchup that I see on the FCS slate each week. And the FCS was lovely enough to give us a ranked matchup this week. So these are FCS rankings. Number 19, Central Arkansas at number 23, Missouri State. Now both are 0-1, but both played FBS teams last week. Central Arkansas got lit up by Arkansas. And yeah, that was the 40-21 loss to Arkansas. Missouri State, they lost close. They lost 23-16 to Oklahoma State. So I really like the Bears in this one. Their defense is fantastic, and it continued to be in that Oklahoma State game. We saw how good they were in the spring. And I know why Mark's taking them too.
My alma mater, Battle of the Bears. I've been on both campuses for some basketball games. I don't know who the coach is at Central Arkansas. I know Petrino is the coach at Missouri State, and he's been in big games, and he got them prepared in the spring. And now that they're back down at this level, I look for them to go 1-1.
So are you lone wolfing the Purple Bears?
So
has the sweetest mullet. All I gotta say.
I just want to preface this by saying Missouri State was probably one of my favorite teams when we watched them in the spring. But here, obviously we didn't have a spread or anything like that to go off of. So the only thing I really looked at was obviously the ranking, and Central Arkansas is ranked higher. Yes, it's at Missouri State and all that, but I don't know. I just took a chance with this one because I don't really know a ton about these two teams. I know a little bit more about Missouri State than I do about Central Arkansas, but I just went with Central Arkansas because they are the higher ranked team at the moment. That could obviously change next week if they do end up losing to Missouri State here. And I do think that that's a high possibility, but I'm actually glad that I am lone wolfing this because that gives me another chance to gain another game. So
You might be up 3 or 4 on us.
Yeah. The only name I know out of the top passer, rusher, and receivers in this game, as shown on ESPN's game preview, is the quarterback for Central Arkansas, Braylon Smith. I remember him specifically from the FCS kickoff game in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to NFL. Here are our pick standings from last year. Chris and I tied. Now, these are okay, Chris. I know what you're going to say. These are overall standings, including the playoffs, which I got you in the Super Bowl. So, yeah, I got Chris in the Super Bowl to get tied with him for the NFL pick standings overall. Chris did win the
sure. Wasn't I up like 3 or 4 going into the playoffs?
Yeah.
And then I just completely lost it in the playoffs and you caught up?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have the regular season ranking, the regular season.
I did win the dog picks of the year.
We'll get there, Mark. We'll get there. But yeah, Mark lost NFL pick standings only by 3, though. It was pretty close. We were really good, though. I don't have time to do the calculation of the
it's like a 66% almost
winning percentage, but yeah, it's pretty solid.
I think we looked it up after the season, and we were better than some people that were on TV.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the games here. Eagles at Falcons. Falcons actually, they went up a half a point. It's 3.5 for Atlanta in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
I guess that could have been my dog.
Okay. So it's Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley. That is what the Falcons are. I don't understand how they have a chance defensively against what the Eagles are putting out with Miles Sanders, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, and the like.
I mean, I think that the reasoning behind this is that if it were to become an offensive shootout, I don't think the Eagles can catch up or keep up with Matt Ryan and Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. I think that the Eagles are actually going to, for one, they're going to win time of possession in this game because of having an athletic quarterback, dual threat like Jalen Hurts. They're going to run the ball more than you think they will because they can run read option with Hurts and Sanders and Boston Scott and whatnot. But yeah, I like the Eagles in this one. So
I think it comes down to the accuracy of Hurts. We all have the Eagles here, and I think they have the pieces, and he just be accurate.
Sneaky player to watch in this one. Quez Watkins, who had a fantastic training camp for the Eagles and is a starter in their 3-wide set with Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith. Over-under is 49.
Wait, who's listed as the tight end 1 in this for the Eagles? Is it
Goddard?
It is Goddard? Okay.
As far as I know, yeah. I would think so. They're going to run a bunch of 2 tight end, though, like they have been.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I actually don't know because we haven't seen regular season Nick Sirianni's offense. So, yeah, over under 49. Not sure about that one. We'll have to see. 1 p.m. Fox. I think last year I didn't really say the cable network because it's all regional based. So maybe I shouldn't have put that on the script, but I don't know. Look up where you're what games you're getting. It's not my job to tell you which games. Steelers at Bills. Marquee AFC matchup here in week 1.
Sorry.
On the Bills.
Gosh.
I think the Steelers will cover. And I mean, they have a chance. It's not like they don't have a chance. It's just in Buffalo with fans back is a monster.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't use the weather conditions as an excuse though, because Pittsburgh is just as bad when it comes to weather. So
it's also in September.
It's not, I know, and it's in September too. So the weather's not going to be a big factor in this one, regardless of what the weather is. But yeah, being in Buffalo, and despite the Steelers having the better defense, I think that Josh Allen is poised for a huge season this year. Obviously, Mark and I both picked him as our MVP for the year. I think it starts here in week 1. Show the dominance against the Steelers, who they could possibly meet again later on in the season in the playoffs, but we'll have to see what happens there. But yeah, I
like your wide receiver core matchup against the secondary. We know that, the linebacker and the front line of Pittsburgh is going to be pretty tough.
Yeah. Biggest thing, like we've been saying all offseason, is how will the Steelers offensive line fare? Even against a Buffalo pass rush that isn't the best, but they are expecting a massive jump from AJ Epinesa this year. So over under is 48.
Kansas first down.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, I think it's just under. I think when they played last year in the regular season, that went under. That was under 48. So
24-21 Bills win. Steelers cover.
Hopefully the Steelers win, but I just don't think they will. CBS. All right, Chris is lone wolf and his team. That's fine. Whatever. I'll talk about the Panthers, though. Mark and I will talk about the Panthers, the team that actually will win. Sam Darnold will show everyone that he can play, and he will play very well against his former team with another former Jet in Robbie Anderson. And they will put up a decent amount of points against the Jets.
I like what Matt Rule has done. They gave him total control, and I see this just being a year of growth. And I do think as long as Sam Darnold doesn't turn it over, that he can be a good quarterback in this league. But if the Jets win, I mean, my record will suck, but that's one game for Coach Salah that's towards Coach of the Year.
But, Mark, you just said a key point there. If Darnold doesn't turn the ball over, he is prone to turnovers.
That's what it depends on.
And
he's not going to get pressure. The Jets don't have a pass rusher, Chris. Shaq Lawson. Oh, yeah, Shaq Lawson.
Yeah, I know, but I don't think it's going to be about the defenses. I think that Zach Wilson and the offense for the Jets will do what they need to do and keep themselves in the game. And I just think, I don't know, it's just a whole culture change here with the Jets. If this was still the Jets from last year, I'd say Panthers win by like 30, because the Jets last year with Adam Gase and Sam Darnold were the worst team in the league. I don't care that they won 2 games. They were the worst team in the league. But this year, Salah and Wilson, the whole team feels just different. I know there's still a lot of growth to do, but I think they start off strong here week 1, going down there. And yeah, the coach and the quarterback don't really have a connection to Sam Darnold, but some of the other players do. And I think that they don't want that storyline on Monday morning to be, did the Jets or are the Jets going to regret trading Darnold or whatever? So I think they're going to be extra motivated against their former quarterback, and they're going to show up on Sunday.
Best matchup to watch in this one, Brian Burns versus Mekhi Becton.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent matchup between 2 young players. Over under is 45. Again, the NFL's tough. Over under in the league are tough.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it'll be a low scoring game. I think it'll be like 20-17 or something like that.
Yeah, especially week 1 when we don't know how teams are actually going to look. 1 p.m. CBS. Vikings. 3-point favorites in Cincinnati. No one decided to go on the Joey B train in this
Yeah, that's
one.
what I was thinking that. I'm kind of surprised nobody went for the Bengals.
I'm a Joe Eagles fan, but can he get any protection in this game?
Right. And
can his receivers catch
the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think the Vikings are overall a better team. They already know what they're doing. They're gonna they're gonna run the ball with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison, set the play action up with Kirk Cousins, and throw downfield to their 2 wide receivers and Thielen and Jefferson. And
3-0.
They have to grow defensively. I think that's where the game could be won by the Bengals if they were going to win, is scoring enough points to beat the Vikings. Because if they get in a shootout, I think the Bengals have a chance. But I know Mark was kind of questioning the Bengals defense, but they made a lot of progress, specifically getting Trey Hendrickson in free agency and a couple other guys. So I think they're going to be a lot better on that side of the ball. I just think overall the Vikings are a better team.
But who is Hendrickson going to match up with? Is he going to match up on the right side with the guy that they just signed?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's gonna go against O'Neal, or I'm blanking on who the Vikings play at left tackle. So
I'm just because you were saying about the Jets and Panthers matchup on that spot. I think that one would be an interesting matchup to see too, if that is the matchup.
So the left tackle is the rookie. How did I not think about that? Christian Darrisaw.
Oh yeah,
is the left tackle. So I don't know. I think the Vikings will be all right either way. I mean, granted, obviously it's a rookie, week 1. That's probably the toughest game of your rookie season, but yeah.
Was Hendrickson the sack leader last year or no?
For who?
Just in the league.
No.
I know he was on the Saints, but I don't know.
He only had like 13.
I know, but I can't think of anybody that had a lot other than him.
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
I think TJ had like 15.
No.
And I think Donald also got him. Maybe not. Maybe Donald only at 10. But over under this one is 47. Like I said, if it gets to a shootout, which I could see a situation how that this game would go there, I think they could go way over and both teams scoring in the 30s. But that's defense dependent. This one is 1 p.m. on Fox. Mark, you're out?
Yeah, in a few minutes. I got to go.
He said 7:45.
I know. The boys aren't. I just got to help put them to bed.
All right. Let's go to a bloodbath. Niners at the Lions. 7.5 for – it's actually up to 8 now for the Niners. So, yeah, like I said, Jared Goff sucks. I don't like him. And
I would take that spread all day, every day. I think it's going to be a double-digit win for the 49ers.
You guys already know my feelings on Detroit's new quarterback. The only thing I can say is possibly he has some familiarity playing against them, but this is a lock.
Yeah. The only way the Lions have a chance is if they can somehow block the Niners pass rush, for one. And for two, if they can get the ground game going with Swift and Williams, I think they control the ball, keep it away from Jimmy G and the Niners offense. I think that, but I think also that Jared Goff throws a pick six in this game.
Yeah, I bet the Lions wish they were playing at MetLife this week.
True. Yeah. Also, it's going to be a defensive touchdown for San Francisco. Either it's a pick six or Nick Bosa will beat Penei Sewell and strip sack Jared Goff, and they'll return it for a touchdown. Probably that's more likely scenario.
Yeah.
Over under is 46. I think under. Lions aren't going to score much.
Uh-huh. And the 49ers won't score a lot either. They're a defensive team, so they're not going to really go for a lot of points.
Let's go 26-6.
I like it.
Okay.
1 p.m. on Fox.
I want to stay for this game because I knew I was lone wolfing it.
Cardinals at Titans. Mark has the Cardinals in the playoffs by somehow. He also has 4 NFC West playoff teams.
And I have like one division on one side with everybody in almost and one on the other side. But with all the additions and what I believe J.J. Watt brings culturally to a team, and I'm not sold on the Titans, secondary especially, and I like the wide receiving core of the Cardinals. And to me, this is just a game that if you're going to be an NFL starter for a long period of time, this is like one of those growth games. And so I don't care if I lose this game or not. I mean, you got to pick different games here and there. Otherwise, you guys are always going to – you guys know more about the NFL than I do.
Mark, we'll see who your dog is later. But when I asked you, why didn't you just take the Cardinals? You're already picking them.
I was so busy today, and the boys gave me this cough and cold. No COVID. We're all clear in that. But, hey, if getting a cold or runny nose every time your kid gets one excites you, parenting is for you.
Yeah. The Cardinal secondary isn't that great either. Besides Buda Baker, we already saw Malcolm Butler retire. So they have, I don't even know who's starting on the outside for the Cardinals.
Noise.
Actually, it's Byron, right? Is it
Jones?
No, not Byron Jones. Something Byron, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
The guy from Washington, the corner that they drafted a couple years ago in the second round from Washington.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name, though. But, yeah, the story in this game, though, is going to be all about the receivers for both teams. Obviously, both teams picked up a big-name receiver in the offseason. The Titans probably a bigger name than the Cardinals did. But what do you mean, two?
No. I was saying Mark had to head out real quick.
But yeah, the Titans picked up Julio Jones, obviously, and the Cardinals picked up AJ Green. And I don't know, I just think that the offense for the Titans is much better than the offense for the Cardinals. I think these two teams are very similar in that their defenses, neither secondary is really that great. The front lines are a little bit better. But both teams are more about their offense than their defense. And I just think that the Titans with Derrick Henry and all that, I think the Titans just have the slight edge.
I agree. Yeah, Derrick Henry should rule in this game. Happy I'm not playing against him anymore after Russo re-randomized our schedule in our fraternity league. So I'm not playing against Derrick Henry this week anymore. Doesn't matter. I'm probably going to lose anyways because Zeke Elliott only got 5 points. But just want to update real quick before we go to the next game. The Kansas Coastal Carolina game. Jacob Borsilla, kicker for Kansas, he hit a 46-yard field goal to get the Jayhawks up 3-0. Grayson McCall just threw a 33-yard touchdown, though, to Javon Hiley. So Coastal Carolina up 7-3. 8:13 to go in the first quarter. Over-under for this game, 54, one of the bigger ones, which I agree. It should be. There should be some points scored in this one. Again, I don't like week one over-unders in the NFL. Over-unders in general in the NFL, I don't. You never know. 1 p.m. CBS. Seahawks at Colts. I think this one is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
Seahawks actually up to 3-point favorites now. Carson Wentz is playing, but it's just I don't think the Colts are ready to beat the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest thing because the Seahawks, their identity's been the same for a couple of years now, so they're kind of used to playing they kind of switched from being the best defense to being one of the best offenses now, and they are playing one of the best defenses, I believe, in the Colts there. But I just, like you said, the Colts don't really know their identity yet with Carson Wentz and whoever their receivers are, because T.Y. Hilton's out. I know they still have Michael Pittman, but I don't really know who else they have after that.
Zach Pascal.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I think it'll be a close game, but I think the Seahawks obviously will go and run away with this one at the end.
Yeah. Over-under is 49. No. Colts defense is too good.
And the Colts offense, I don't think, can score enough.
1 p.m. Fox. I am hoping for a 100-yard day from Mr. Taylor, though. Please and thank you, Jonathan. All right. The Chargers at Washington. This line switched. It started out the week as a 1-point Chargers favorite and has since swung 2 points to a 1-point Washington favorite. So, Chris, Lone Wolf, Justin Herbert, and the LA Chargers.
I mean, anybody who's watched us since the beginning of last year, since the draft last year, knows that I love Justin Herbert. He's probably one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league now. And I strongly believe that he has the ability to be even better than he was last year. And he will lead this team. Obviously, when we did our picks last week, I have them being the number 1 seed. Their defense needs a little work, but I think that offense can carry them throughout the season. And yes, Washington has one of the best defenses in the league too. But I just think the Chargers offensive line as a whole, I think, is upgraded from what it was last year. Still might be tough to kind of hold back the Washington defensive line. But I think that Herbert's going to get the ball out quick enough, whether it be to Eckler or to Keenan Allen or even Jared Cook. I just think that offense is way too high-powered, and I don't think that Ryan Fitzpatrick and co can keep up.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, Chris. I drafted Justin Herbert in my fraternity league, and currently have him starting, but I know I gave you sound advice yesterday, so Justin Herbert or Sam Darnold this week?
I think Darnold, only because I think Christian McCaffrey will go off on the Jets. And as long as Darnold's throwing him the ball, obviously Darnold will get the points.
Yeah, it actually says, I don't understand how, but the Washington defense is ranked number 1 in fantasy matchups right now. And somehow the Jets are ranked 8th.
Oh.
No clue how that is, but that's what it tells me the matchup is. So only 10%. Huh?
Which site is that?
I will join in on that 10%. Yeah, I like Washington. Fitzmagic. It's that season. It's Fitzmagic season right now. Early on in the year, at home, they can get it done. Austin Eckler for the Chargers isn't 100% in this game. So I think that's a detriment, as well as what does everyone talk about with Washington? Their defense. My defensive player of the year, Chase Young, playing in this one. Pretty decent matchup. It is tough. I can't recall who the Chargers left tackle is, but I don't think Chase Young plays on the right side anyways. I think he plays on the left side, which is a harder matchup against Brian Bulaga. But it's fine. Chase Young can beat any tackle in the league. So I think Justin Herbert might be running a little bit with an improved offensive line for sure. A lot better than they've had in recent years, but still not elite.
The Chargers left tackle is Slater.
Right, Rashawn Slater. So maybe they do put Chase Young on Slater. I mean, regardless, he's going to either face Chase Young or Montez Sweat. And just like AJ Epinesa in Buffalo, I know Washington believes Montez Sweat is ready to break out this year on the opposite side of Young. So over-under is 45. We're going to go under. Both defenses are pretty decent. Washington's defense by far is better, though.
I think it can get close to 45, though. I think it'll be somewhere around there.
True. Like I said, it's Fitzmagic season, dude. I'm ready for it. Even though I don't want Washington to win because they're in the Eagles division, but I don't play favorites in this one. I pick who I think is going to win. 1 p.m. CBS. Jags at the Texans. Trevor Lawrence first career start, first career road game, and it's against Tyrod. That's the fact of the matter in this game.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I was tempted to pick the Texans, but everything going on with them over the last couple of days with the trades and all that, they're clearly not planning to win this year. And even though it's at home, even though it's a rookie quarterback making his first start against them, I just don't have any faith in the Texans whatsoever this year.
Yeah, and I haven't heard any update on whether Whitney Merciless is going to play in this game. If not, that's even worse for the Texans. He's their only threat as a pass rusher.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think, even with the Jags, I wouldn't call them subpar offensive line. I think they're middle to getting closer to that upper third of lines. But I think the weapons that Trevor Lawrence has are really going to frustrate the Texans defense. Laviska Shenault, Marvin Jones, DJ Chark. And then I think, it sucks that Travis Etienne got hurt, but I think that actually helps the offense. It gives James Robinson his every down role again, like he had last year, and where we saw him run for 1,000 yards as an undrafted rookie free agent. In his second year now, I think James Robinson's going to have a good game.
Yeah, I'm
hoping that Phillip Lindsay has a good game because I'm forced to start him in my fraternity league after Gus Edwards got hurt. So projected 9 points. That's pretty decent if he can get that.
Yeah. It all depends on the workload for the Texans running backs because they have 3 solid guys that I think are going to be sharing the ball a lot. So we'll see who gets the touchdowns.
So over under is 46. Mm-hmm. I think it could be low scoring, actually. I know I talked about the weapons for Jacksonville, but Lawrence's first start.
I don't have any problem with the with the Jaguars scoring. I think it's the Texans that are going to have trouble scoring.
Right. Yeah. We'll go under. 1 p.m. CBS. This is, I don't know, I was gonna say this is the marquee matchup of the weekend, but like we got Steelers, Bills, Seahawks, Colts. Those
Yeah.
are
This is
those
one
are
of the
those.
best matchups, though.
Yeah.
It's
Even like
weird saying that the Browns are one of the best matchups still, but
even like Cardinals, Titans, and Chargers, Washington are
there's a lot of
pretty.
good week one games.
But yeah, I know a lot of people are looking forward to this game. Cleveland at the Chiefs, rematch of the divisional round game against these two teams that Chad Henne had to pull out. So, but yeah, this one actually is down to 5.5 for the Chiefs. And I don't know what is happening to Coastal Carolina right now, but the Kansas is in the red zone and almost about to score.
But yeah, all signs are obviously pointing to the Chiefs winning this one. History and just overall, the Chiefs are a better team, but I would not be surprised if Monday during the show, this slide has the Browns in the win column. But yeah, I just I couldn't bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs right now. They're obviously one of the Super Bowl favorites, and they got to start off the season strong, going against one of their, I don't want to say biggest threats, but that's essentially what the Browns are for them.
Yeah. This one is going to have season-long implications in terms of playoff seeding. And also, I think this game matters a lot more for the Browns than it does for the Chiefs because of their divisions. Chiefs only really playing against the Chargers. And then, you got the Browns who, if I'm not going to, but if you wanted to include Cincinnati, I mean, they're not there yet in my mind, but Ravens and Steelers, they got two teams to worry about in their own division. So I just don't think there's been a lot of hype about the Browns defense this offseason being upgraded, but you got to see it against an elite offense. And we already know what Steve Spagnuolo has done with the Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
So.
And plus the Chiefs, they took care of their biggest weakness too. They upgraded their offensive line immensely. So it's going to be even tougher to get to Patrick Mahomes now. So we'll see if the Browns line can do it, but I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, pretty good matchup between the Chiefs offensive tackles and Myles Garrett, Jadeveon Clowney. Over-under is 55. High one. I think it goes over, though. I think this game could turn out to be closer to that Browns-Ravens Monday night game that we had last year. 425. Yes. Dolphins at Patriots. I forgot this is a you're lone wolfing, Chris. You're lone wolfing. I forgot to change it to the Dolphins for the mark.
All right. Well, it feels weird that I'm lone wolfing the Patriots, but yeah. We obviously saw what happened with the Patriots last year. They weren't very good, whatever. But I believe in Mac Jones. And I hate to say it, but I think he can maybe not be the next Tom Brady, but he can be a pretty good quarterback in this league. I think the Patriots are definitely better than they were last year at pretty much every position, not just at quarterback. Their defense got better. Obviously, the Patriots I think they were the biggest spenders, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, they were.
Yeah. And obviously, history says that that's not a good thing. But in this case, I think week one, Bill Belichick's going to buckle down, coach his team to a win against one of his former disciples there with Brian Flores. And again, I'm still not a believer in Tua. I don't think that he's going to be able to pull this one out.
I can tell you I am a believer in Tua. With Jalen Waddle, Will Fuller isn't in this game. He's still suspended for the first 2, I think it is.
Yeah, I think it's 2.
But I think that doesn't matter. Jalen Waddle will be the downfield threat in this one. Devontae Parker will work underneath, and then Mike Gesicki is there as well. Kansas just scored a touchdown. They are now back up on top of Coastal Carolina. Did not know Jason Bean, the former North Texas quarterback, was the quarterback at Kansas. That changes everything for this game. But anyways, yeah, I all in on the Dolphins. Love them this year. I had a decision in, I believe it was my fraternity league as well, defensive-wise, to play the Patriots against the Dolphins or the Rams against the Bears, and I picked the Rams.
I mean, I would too. So
yeah, but I'm going to go back to the rookie quarterback first week thing. Now, Trevor Lawrence on the road week 1. Mac Jones, luckily enough, is at home. But the Dolphins defense in their own right is pretty good as well. So I think Brian Flores will have some special stunts and blitzes to show Mac Jones. And I don't think he'll be able to outsmart Brian Flores in this one. And they'll win. It'll be close. I think it'll be a close game, but this win is what sets off the reaction. Patriots finishing last in the AFC East. Like I have my random wager on that I'm hoping your Jets can help me out with, Chris.
we'll see.
Finish third. Just finish third and have the Patriots finish last. That's all you got to do. Beat them both times, Chris. Beat them both times. Over-under is 44. Low one. Will this one finish in the teens?
I hate that literally every NFL game has been in like the 40s because that's such a tough number to decide.
Yeah, there's only 3 that are 50 plus. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be close. It'll be really close.
Yeah, I could see this one
Obviously,
going either
with
way.
44, you can't have both teams score in the 20s. Unless it's 21-20.
Yeah.
Or something low 20s for both teams. Like barely above 20.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll be under, but I think it'll be close. I think it'll be like 21-17 or something like that.
Dolphins win. I know. 425 CBS. Packers at the Saints. It is down to 3.5 points for the Packers. I was happy I got in on them at 3. And yeah, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to come out pissed this season. At
like
the Packers. Yeah, and he is going to just roll the Saints. I don't think 3.5 is enough.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
It's a neutral site game played in Jacksonville. And we already know the Saints secondary is their worst unit on defense.
Uh-huh.
They lost Trey Hendrickson, Sheldon Rankins off the D line.
No, but I don't think it matters. Like the Saints secondary, even if they had like 2 of the best corners in the league, Devontae Adams, in my mind, is the best wide receiver in football. And I think even going against Marshawn Lattimore, who I also think is one of the best corners in the league, I think Devontae Adams is going to beat him all day. And it's just not going to be a pretty game for the Saints. That's why I'm also surprised. I mean, you had it at -4 here, but you said it's now down to 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm surprised it's only that much. I thought it would be at least a touchdown.
Yeah, and the easiest prop bet to tell people to do that I am the most confident in is every single Packers game, just bet Devontae Adams first touchdown scorer. It is literally the easiest bet that
I'm not 100% sold on that anymore because now Randall Cobb is back with the Packers, and I know Rodgers likes to throw to him too.
Doesn't matter. I think that prop cashed in about half of the Packers games last year. Over under. This is the last one that's 50. It's set right at 50. So
I could see it. I could see it going over, but I think it'll be just under. I think it'll be like what would that be, like 28-21 would get 49. I could see that being the score.
I think it'll go over because I think the Packers are going to score 35. Yeah, I think that's 35-21.
Yeah, I could see that too.
425 on Fox. I know that's the game I'll be watching on TV because that's the game that'll get here on Fox. Broncos at Giants. Broncos getting 3. Teddy B's first start for Denver. Yeah, it's the I already said about it earlier. It's Von Miller versus Andrew Thomas.
And Chubb on the other side too.
Yeah, I heard Chubb was banged up though. I haven't heard any update, but I think he won't. I don't think he'll be 100% in this one. Maybe.
I don't think you really need to be 100% though against the Giants' offensive line.
Yeah, Nate Solder on the other side. So, over under is very low. Is it the lowest one that we got? Yes, it is. 42. Does one team score under double digits?
I mean, I think that this could very well be a 17-10 game.
I think the Broncos can win this game 15-9.
Yeah. It's going to be under 30, I think.
Something gross like that, where it's if it's 15-9 and Graham Gano kicks 3 field goals, Brandon McManus kicks 5, I'm down for it. 425 on Fox. That's the last afternoon game. And Sunday Night Football this week, Bears at the Rams. We're Matthew Stafford train. His MVP campaign starts Sunday night against what everyone thought was a great Bears defense, and then they got shredded by Mitchell Trubisky in week 2 of the preseason.
Yeah, well, Trubisky was also very motivated in that one. But, yeah, we're all on the Rams train, like you said. I think Stafford, and I know you do too because you have him as your MVP candidate, Stafford makes the Rams one of the favorites in the NFC, I think. And the Bears are definitely not what they were a few years ago. I don't care who's starting at quarterback. It's going to be Andy Dalton, but even if Justin Fields was starting, I don't think that would make a difference. The Rams are going to beat the Bears on both sides of the ball.
That's one of my favorite plays is Rams defense in fantasy this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they're gonna play very well, and this is one of the bigger spreads of the week at 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
So over under is 47 though.
Yeah, because the Bears aren't gonna score.
Right, that's why I think under. 8:20 NBC. Alrighty. All right. I did pretty good last week in my first week, taking over for Alex on the best bets. 2-1. I got Penn State plus 5.5 and USC minus 14 correct. Unfortunately, I couldn't get Indiana plus 3 right. That was the downfall of the week, but we move along. So this week, really like Tennessee minus 3 against the Cardinals. It's at home in Nashville. So I think the running game for Tennessee. They should be able to put up a good amount of points against the Cardinals defense, even with JJ Watt and the front seven. Very good. But with Julio, even though, I don't like Julio that much, but with the play action passing game, AJ Brown, Julio, they should be able to throw downfield quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I like that one. Washington -1 against the Chargers. I mean, why not? It's 1 point.
They essentially just have to win the game to cover that.
Yeah. And that's why when betting, I hate 1 point spreads. It's like, why? Because it's very difficult to push a 1 point spread. Except last night, if it would have been 1 point, pushed either way. So, yeah, I think Washington's going to beat the Chargers at home. And that's why I like that one. And then Packers, I just said about, I think they're going to steamroll the Saints. Probably not a good word to put in there, because then we'll see on Monday, Jameis Winston throws for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns and beats the Packers. But, yeah.
I definitely think that the Packers one is the most likely to happen. I mean, obviously, when we were doing the picks, I have the Chargers winning that one, so I don't really like that one, but I can see that happening. And the Titans, I do think, also win their game, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a close game. I could see that one pushing. So, but yeah, the Packers, I think, is a definite hit there.
Push is not a loss, though. That's what we love to see. Okay. Locks of the week here. Here was our final standings from last season. I won the locks 14-3. Very good season for myself. Mark finished second, 13-4, and then Chris 12-5. Man,
I took some chances. I think I don't remember exactly who I picked, but I'm pretty sure I took, because I didn't want to take the most obvious pick every week. Otherwise, I would have been 17-0.
Yeah, okay. But last week in our only college lock of the year that we did, we all went 1-0. You and Mark went with Oklahoma. You're close. And then I went with Oregon, who also barely won. But it's okay. It's all that matters is that they won, and we all start 1-0. So actually, we're going to end up having 19 games to pick this year with the 18-week NFL season and the added 1 week of college locks. So here we go. Chris is on the Niners against the Lions. Mark and we're on the Packers over the Saints. So, yeah.
Now, the lock is only to win. There's no spread involved in this one. So
correct.
So I can see us all being 2-0. Obviously, you and Mark are tied here with both being with the Packers. So I'm the only difference here. But I think at the end of the day, I think the Packers and the 49ers both win, and I think we'll be sitting pretty at 2-0 everybody next week. I
agree. I can't keep talking about the Packers because I said everything that I could about the game. But yeah. All right. Dogs of the week. This is last year. Mark, like he keeps touting, said he won the dog standings last year, 18-14. I finished at 500 at 16-16. And then Chris, half game under 500, 15-16-1.
I don't remember the one that I tied, but
you pushed a week. That was why.
I know. I can't remember what one it was though, but yeah, I did not do very good picking my dogs, but I think this year I'm turning it around.
Yeah, I'm trying not to take as many chances this year. But last week we all started 2-0. We got the winner and we covered the spread. You were on Georgia +3 last week. They won. And Mark and I were on Nevada +3.5. They beat Cal last week. So again, we're starting out well. All right, dogs of the week this week. Chris is on +1 at Washington. Mark and I are on the Dolphins +3 at New England. It's tough. Both are tough.
Uh-huh.
It was hard to pick dogs this week in the NFL. There weren't that many that I was very confident in.
No, not at all. I don't think I really picked any dogs other than the Chargers in my regular picks. I mean, there were a couple that I could have gone with that were against my own picks, but I didn't want to do that. Like I could see the Giants winning their game. I could see a scenario where they win their game, but that's not happening. And then there's a couple other ones too, like the Cardinals. I could see winning their game too.
I didn't think about it. You know, we all picked the Eagles.
Yeah, that too.
But I'm relatively confident in the Dolphins being able to beat the Patriots. So I don't know. We should make a decision. Should we make Mark take the Cardinals because he lone wolfed them against the Titans?
No,
we can take them as his dog.
No, let's let him stick with you with the Dolphins, because if they lose, then you guys both lose, and if the Chargers win, I get the points, and I'm ahead of you guys. So yeah, you stick together with the Dolphins.
I'm gonna laugh if the Chargers push. They'll lose by 1 to Washington. Fitzmagic throws a touchdown right at the end to get a 1-point win.
Now, you know what's going to happen is the game's going to end in a tie, so I'm going to get the point for the +1 because they're going to win with the spread.
Oh yeah, you'll get the push on the win.
Yeah, I know.
All right. That's a show, actually. It was pretty long again, I know. The amount of college games will decrease as we go, though.
Yep.
There won't be as many undefeateds and whatnot. But next Friday, regular season week 2, we'll be recapping all of both of the games. The Monday night game in Vegas, Raiders. Excited for Tyson Williams to play in that one. And then we'll also be recapping the Thursday night matchup, the Giants at Washington, next Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
As well as we'll have all the game previews, NCAA, NFL, and hyped. Love that NFL is back. Love that college football is playing right now. It is 9-7 Kansas.
Oof.
I don't know how Coastal is not destroying them right now, but Jake Dean's playing well for the Jayhawks right now at quarterback. So actually, Coastal's in the red zone. They're about to score. They're inside the 15. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, and FAApodcast.com. Also, check us out here on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you, Chris, and we will see you on Monday.